What's up and welcome back to Bardown Talking Hockey episode number 161, presented by the Barroom Network. It is the home of your favorite tournament in all of sports, the Stanley Cup Playoffs. My name is Vinny Parisi, and my best Yu-Gi-Oh card growing up was Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And this right here, this is Frankie Mueller, and his best Yu-Gi-Oh card growing up was Karibo. Frank, how you doing?
I love Kariba. I love Kariba.
Hell yeah.
I'm doing good. We gotta, this is last week before we take our vacation. I got some comments to address. Skoke says that he missed last week because he did some Door County fishing. And not only that, but Travis says, dude, Door County is on our trip list for next year. Can't wait. We're going to hit there. And Painted Rocks, Michigan.
Very cool. Very cool. A lot of Door County chat.
A lot of Door County chat.
How did that even end up like where they figured out what we were like talking about Door County? Oh, because Skokes, yeah. Skokes knows the bit. Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Love that. What does Tom mean by Frankie? So that's what you look like. Has he not seen you in a while?
Unless he meant I look like Kariba. But I don't think he knows what that is.
Yeah. Although his text tone is your life points hitting zero tone.
I don't think it's that anymore.
You think he changed it?
I think it's changed. I could be wrong, but
okay. I saw this meme on Facebook. I'm part of this, like, everyone's gonna laugh at me, freaking nerd. I'm part of this Facebook group called like Old School Yu-Gi-Oh Forever, like, or something like that. And it's like an active group. Like, there are thousands of people in it, and it is a frequent one post every 30 minutes type Facebook page. And it had this like meme. It was like the 3 most iconic monsters for each character. And like, obviously you laugh. Seto Kaiba's 3 most iconic monsters are Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Blue Eyes White Dragon. And then Joey's was like Red Eyes Flame Swordsman and Red Eyes Black Dragon. Or no, I said Red Eyes twice. There was a third monster I forget. For Yugi, they put Karibo. It was Dark Magician Girl, and Karibo, and I agree.
I agree too.
I couldn't agree more.
Big part of Yugi.
Yeah, and like he used, I think it's technically the weakest monster, and he freaking turned it into a mega power many
There's different
times.
variations too.
Yeah, you can have like a whole ass Karibo deck and freaking win big with it. Just based around that little guy.
Aren't there some tokens that are Karibo too?
Yes, I think it's like a token card, but the image is like pictures of Karibo. Yeah, for sure. You like Yu-Gi-Oh?
I love Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I still
haven't opened a pack in a while.
It's been a while since I've opened a pack, but I've been watching the TV show. I got the Speed Duel deck I want to mess around with. So yeah, I'm pretty into it. I like it. I'll always love it. I think it's one of those things.
I feel like it's one of those things we'll just get back into again randomly.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I'm 100%. And like, yeah, I'm 29 years old, but it's something I've loved since I was 5. Like, you know, people who are older, when they get into like their 60s or 70s, they still have stuff they liked from when they were a kid, but you know, our stuff's a little more, it's different. So I'm all in. I love it.
It's the same thing as opening a pack of baseball cards, a pack of hockey cards. It's the same.
Which I will also do. I'm just as much of a jock as I am a nerd. Yeah, I was correct. Yeah. That's what it means. You go see Tom, dude. What are you doing?
We are this Friday.
Love that. This Friday. It's freaking 2 days away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to Martin Masiak in the third period. I think we're saving our prospect chat for that with the Memorial Cup going on and all too. Frank, all-time favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card, just based on your love for it, not how great it is.
Oh God, that's very tough for me. That is very
tough for me too. It's tough for me too. I have like a three cards that come to mind right off the bat: Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and Obelisk the Tormentor. But yeah,
I've always been a big fan of Exodia, but that's like more than one card.
But that counts. That's like, I would say that counts.
But that's like
if you're an Exodia guy.
Say Exodia though.
Why not?
You can't say Exodia. That's like cheating.
So it's like saying Blue Eyes, and that's my favorite.
I like Dark Magician.
Hell yeah.
I like a lot of the Toon cards. I thought that was always cool.
Yeah.
Summon Skull.
Skull was awesome.
Time Wizard.
Time Wizard's pretty cool.
That
was the other Joey one. That was the other Joey one on like each card's 3 most iconic. Each character. It was Red Eyes Black Dragon, the Flame Swordsman, and Time Wizard.
And Baby Dragon.
Baby Dragon was always paired with. Was it not even Flame Swordsman?
No, I don't think it was Flame Swordsman.
It might be Baby Dragon over Flame Swordsman.
Yeah,
But Joey said it was his favorite card.
it's all right.
It's all right. That's our nerdy for the day. Travis says I'm about to turn 38 and I rock with Pokemon Go. Dude, I open the app once a month.
Do you really?
Yeah, oh yeah. You always check in to see what's around. You know, they got some cool stuff involved in that game. I'm not like a diehard like I once was, but like you said, it's something maybe you'll always go in a phase of. Like maybe there'll be a summer where we hit gyms again or something like
I
that.
stopped playing because my phone couldn't handle it when I had the iPhone 8.
And now you have a phone that could probably handle it better than any.
Yeah, but I got to get back into that. I liked going for walks and just casually catching Pokemon or Pokestops. There's a place in Schaumburg you walk around the pond, and there's like
Oh yeah, by Bonefish.
yeah, and there's like 3 Pokestops in that area. You just keep walking around and keep getting Pokeballs, and
Yeah. And it's like a hot spot.
Absolutely.
100%. All right, Frank. I think people are finally over us talking about Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and they're ready for us to flip to Puck Ball. So we will talk about Puck Ball in period number 1. Frank, the entire dynamic of this conversation was going to change based on the results of last night's game between the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers, who now have a 2-2 series tie. The Florida Panthers winning in overtime yesterday on arguably. So I always said the most beautiful power play goal I've ever seen was Adam Henrique, or not Adam Henrique, it was Ilya Kovalchuk. It was the Henrique It's Over game. But earlier during regulation, the Devils scored a power play goal by Ilya Kovalchuk, and every player on the ice one-touched it. So it went Harold, Henrique. Don't ask me how I remember this, but it's that cool of a goal that I know every player that was a part of it. It was Peter Harold, and then he passed it to Adam Henrique, who one-touched it to David Clarkson, who one-touched it to Danis Zubris, and then one-touched it to Kovalchuk, and it somehow made its way through all 4 Rangers penalty killers, and Kovalchuk beats Henrik Lundqvist, and the Devils had a 2-0 lead at that point. Yesterday's goal is in that conversation, I think. The goal in overtime to beat the New York Rangers. It was a beautiful goal. They win the face-off in that Montour. I know we've been pumping the gas of freaking Gustav Forsling this whole playoff so far when talking about the Panthers, but Montour, dude, he's unreal too, and he made a one-touch pass to Matthew Tkachuk, who made a one-touch, or was it Barkov? I think it might have been Barkov. No, it was Tkachuk. Was it Barkov? No,
who made the pass?
Yeah, who
was Barkov.
Who received it from Montour, and then he one-touched it to
it
Montour or to freaking Carter Verhaeghe.
Barkov.
Yeah. And then Verhaeghe in overtime again. This guy, I swear to God, Frank, he's looking like one of the greatest playoff performers I've ever seen.
Wait. Yesterday's game?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Reinhardt who scored?
Reinhardt. Verhaeghe scored earlier in the game.
Yeah.
It was Reinhardt. You are correct. And Reinhardt, same thing basically goes as what I was saying about Verhaeghe. Reinhardt is probably having the best single season a Florida Panthers player has ever had. Last year's Matthew Tkachuk is in the conversation. 3rd in MVP. They went all the way to the final. He probably would have won. Either him or Bob would have won the Conn Smythe if they won the cup. They lost to Vegas. He comes in this year. He's good again. Tkachuk, he had a great year. A little slow to start, but really after Christmas, he started to pick it up. But this freaking Reinhardt, dude, 2nd in goals, only to Austin Matthews, who had the most goals of any player since the mid-90s. He adds another chapter to his magical season, and the Florida Panthers tie the game. What did you think of the goal? What did you think of Florida's performance? And where are you at on the Rangers right now?
It was a beautiful, beautiful performance by Reinhardt. Thanks to Barkov for setting up that play. This series has been a lot of fun. A lot of fun. 3 of the first 4 games have gone to overtime. We've had a lot of extra playoff puck that we really haven't gotten in too many other series. Rangers snapped the Panthers' 11-game postseason OT winning streak. They almost beat them 3 times in a row in overtime if they would have won yesterday, which is very hard to do against this Florida Panthers team. I still think the Panthers got this. Panthers in 6. That's what I'm going for. That's right. I think the Panthers got them right where they want them. But I'm very impressed with the Rangers. I'm very impressed with the Rangers and how they've played the Florida Panthers. I think you thought a little bit more that the Panthers would run through them a little easier because I think you had them in Panthers in 5. This is kind of what I expected from this series. I thought it'd be a little tight, but I do think the Panthers will pull away in New York in Game 5 and then win it on home ice. I don't see this game going 7, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went 7 games.
In your opinion, who's been the best player on the Florida Panthers in this series? Not in the playoffs, in this
In this
series.
in this series, I think there's a couple guys you can name. I'm going Carter Verhaeghe just because he's been the most consistent player in the series. He's scored a couple of crucial goals on the power play. He has 6 points through the first 4 games of the series. He's been also one of the top 3 distributors on this team in this series. And when you're doing that on a top line and you have Barkov and Reinhart to go to, kind of similar to the play we saw yesterday, there's a reason why this Panthers team is so deep. So I think for Verhaeghe, just because he's been so consistent.
He sure has been consistent. It's a great pick. I was going to pick him. And then I thought about something. And listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. There are like 5 guys who can name here, and I'm not arguing it. I picked Barkov, and I know I'm always blowing Barkov on the show. I
Oh,
get
I'll
it.
give Barkov some love. Trust
I'm
me.
the
You'll hear.
Barkov guy. I get it. I know. I'm biased, blah, 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 blah. You know what? Barkov is, I'm biased because I believe what I'm saying, and he keeps proving me right. So this guy's been unbelievable in the playoffs so far. This series in particular, though, I've noticed there's a big old goose egg next to Chris Kreider's point total. There's a big old goose egg next to Mika Zibanejad's goal total. Panarin has a couple assists. He might have 1 goal. Now, Lafreniere's taken advantage of Barkov not being on the ice and shutting down these other top players on the Rangers. You know, whoever doesn't get Barkov has a little more open room out there. I don't think any team in the league, like when Heischer's not out there and you're playing the Devils, a guy's going to be better off than when Heischer is. Like, it's the same thing when Bergeron, Kopitar, Taves, these types of players. The fact that he's been shutting them down the way that he has been and contributing on offense and making big time plays in the power play and overtime. He always seems to be like mucking it up a little bit again lately. Like Barkov's been playing with a little bit of a nastiness to his game that I kind of respect and love. I'm giving it to Barkov so far. And I also think, you know, you can say Verhaeghe, Kachuk. I think they're all good answers. I love this Forsling dude. He's been better in the games that the Panthers lost. Like that game 3, I went back and watched the highlights because obviously we were at a picnic. That's the one big playoff game I've missed basically the entirety of this postseason. But I went back and I took care of my business watching it all. He was unbelievable in that game. And we both missed that game. We knew what we were keeping up with it, but we both missed it. Might have been the best game of the playoffs. Any series, you know, which is unfortunate, but that happens in life sometimes. Dude, they're all so good. They're so deep, and I've enjoyed watching them. But right now, I have Barkov as the top dog in this series so far. Who's been the best player on the New York Rangers in this series so far to date?
Honestly, he's been the best player in this series and for the Rangers in the playoffs as a whole. I think it's Vincent Trocheck. He's been lights out, 2 goals, 3 assists in the 4 games. Leads the entire Rangers in points. He's got a 5-point gap over Panarin and Zibanejad. I believe. I think he has the most points in this series for the Rangers. With 5. He also, and this is crucial, holds a 10-1 record this postseason when he gets at least 1 point for the Rangers. He scored the first goal of the Eastern Conference Finals for the Rangers. He's just brought a different level of energy, and it's just been so sensational.
That's a great pick. It's not what I thought you were going to say. I think Vinny Trocheck has been the Rangers' best skater so far in the playoffs. And honorable mention to Alexis Lafreniere. He's been tearing it up in this series. Big goal yesterday, 2 goals the game before. One of them was just drop your pants sexy. Lafreniere, we've talked about how he's not a bust. Me and you have kind of both had Lafreniere's back, I think, for the last couple years, mainly because we know, especially like watching the Devils and stuff, it takes number 1 overall picks. The Bedards of the world are weird. the McDavids and the
Yep.
Matthews, they're weird. Rasmus Dahlin had to get going. He was only Heischer, Hughes, Power. All these guys are all stars. They're wonderful, potentially Hall of Fame type players. It's very rare. Nathan McKinnon didn't step into the league and light the world on fire, and he's one of the best players ever. Like
Mhm.
honestly, I wholeheartedly believe that about the Nate Dogg. Um, it's the same thing for Lafreniere. Do I think he's a generational superstar 110-point winger? No, I don't. But I think he has this. Like, remember when we used to say if he became Timo Meyer, would you sign up for that if you're the Rangers? And both of our answers were like, hell yeah. And Timo Meyer's a star. He's been an all-star. He's a
Oh
great
yeah.
player. I'm super stoked that Timo Meyer's a Devil for the next 7 years. That makes me so happy.
Oh yeah.
If Lafreniere became that, I think he is that. He's becoming that. And the Rangers should be excited. Now, I'm veering away from what I was saying. I would put him second best skater in this series for the Rangers behind Vinny T. But for me, the best player in this series for the Rangers has been Igor Shesterkin. If they got average goaltending in games 2 and 3, they would have gotten killed. Like the Panthers, I think they were out shooting them going into overtime, outshot attempting them because shooting it has to get to the goal. The Rangers decent at the Panthers are better at blocking shots, while the Rangers are pretty good too. But shot attempts were 93-33 in favor of the Panthers going into overtime. This guy Igor, dude, he's the best goalie left. You can argue he's the best goalie in the league. I think he's the best goalie in the league. Maybe in the playoffs you might rather have Daddy Vasilevsky if he was on a really good team, but Igor is the guy for me right now, and he's been the best player for the Rangers. The Panthers have outplayed them for large stretches of this postseason, and like we know what Bob can do. He kind of had a shit game in Game 3, but Igor gave up 4 in that game too,
Mhm.
and that was just kind of an up and down. When they say it was maybe the best game of the playoffs, goalies never think the best games of the playoffs are that fun. So, other than that, though, it's been a really nice goalie deal. I would say Igor's been better, but the Florida Panthers, man, they just look so much deeper in every facet of the game. And Igor's kept them in it. They're tied 2-2, and that's a big deal in this series. So, Frank, if the Florida Panthers want to win this series, what do they need to do? And then I'll give my soliloquy.
I think they just need right now to continue to feed Sam Reinhart the puck. Reinhart is currently having one of the best seasons of any Florida Panthers player in history. He has 57 goals in the regular season. He has 8 in this postseason. Scored one of the biggest goals of the postseason last night to tie this series at 2 games apiece. The Panthers also got to continue to dictate the pace in each game. It seems like in all 4 games so far in the series, the Panthers have controlled the pace of the game. The only 2 wins for the Rangers have come in overtime, where a bounce here and there could change who wins. It could be fluky. They haven't been controlling the pace, the Rangers. That has been all Florida. And over a long sample size of a 7-game series, it's going to pan out for the Florida Panthers better. So continue to dictate the pace. They play a tire out the opposing team type of game and feast on your prey type of game. They have done that in all 4 games so far, and they were a hair away from winning each one of the 4 games. It'll be hard for the Rangers to win if they don't figure out a way to control the game.
Couldn't agree with you more. That's exactly what I was going to say. If I'm the Florida Panthers, I keep doing what I'm doing, especially games 3 and 4. Games 1, well, they won game 1 in a shutout. They shut the Rangers out 3-0. And then in game 2, they lost in overtime. And, I would say Florida was a better team. The Rangers were a little closer in that one, but in games 3 and 4 specifically, you can argue this series should be 3-1. And if they somehow the deserve to win meter probably still favored the Panthers even after game 2. But after games 3 and 4, listen to this. This is shot attempt comparison. The stats are courtesy of Stathletes. Games 3 and 4. Total shots on goal attempts. Panthers, 199. Now, this is just game 3 and 4 of the Eastern Conference Final. 199 shot attempts for the Florida Panthers, 84 for the New York Rangers. 76 of them made it on net for the Panthers, only 39 for New York. Off the cycle, the Panthers have had 152 shot attempts, and the Rangers have only had 162, so like 90 more for the Panthers. Off the rush, 47 in favor of the Panthers. The Rangers only had 22. From the slot, 68 for the Panthers, 37 for the Rangers. Scoring chances in the series games 3 and 4, 40 for the Panthers, 20 for the Rangers. They literally
Yep.
doubled them.
Yep.
And the expected goals for per game for the Florida Panthers is 7.69 goals per game, and the expected goals per game for the New York Rangers is 3.88, which is still kind of high. Bob's playing well too. There's no doubting that, other than Game 3. But the fact that if there was an average goalie in net according to these statistics, the Panthers would have 7 goals in each game. They would have swept them.
Oh yeah.
So Igor, just absolutely unbelievable. But if I'm Florida, I'm just keep doing what I'm doing. You goalies can steal a series within reason. Like I the only time I've ever seen a goalie steal a series, like where their team, but the Bruins were still good that year. The year Rask beat the Penguins and he gave up 2 goals in the whole series, like that was unrealistically good. But Igor's doing something similar right now, and Florida's just got to keep their foot on the gas, and I think they'll win the series. So Frank, on the contrary, how do the New York Rangers win this series?
While the New York Rangers need to find ways to play ahead and play in front, they are 2-1 in this series when they have grabbed the lead. And they need to have more than a 1-goal lead, right? You just don't want these. Add insurance. The only time the Rangers found a way to have a 2-goal lead, they ended up winning the game. And that's not easy. 2-goal lead, you're like, well, yeah, they're going to win. Well, ask the Edmonton Oilers. They had a 2-goal lead in game 3 and they lost. So it's not a guarantee. But Igor's been so good that if they could get that 2-goal lead, they are going to win. And they've proved that in this series. Not only that, but when the Rangers jump in front, it forces the Panthers to change their play style a bit more and be more aggressive. So if you could get the Panthers scrambling, get them out of their comfort zone, you're in the driver's seat. The Rangers also, going back to Igor, will need Shesterkin to continue to play at the level he is playing. He is playing phenomenal right now. Rangers got the game to overtime, which is a win because the Rangers needed a third period goal in order to do so. So when it comes to OT, anything can happen, and you could get the fishiest goal of all time in the net, and all of a sudden you got a 3-1 series lead if something were to happen last night. But that didn't happen. As long as you could get the game to overtime, I have confidence in Igor Shesterkin. So the way that was great by them. They've won 2 of the 3 overtimes so far. So as long as he continues to play the way he's playing, they could realistically take out the Florida Panthers. If Igor's level drops just a tad, the Panthers will run away with the rest of the series. Last night, the Rangers were stuck in their own zone for most of the night, struggling to clear the puck, constantly turning it over, having multiple defensive breakdowns that gave the Panthers clean looks and odd man rushes. For the most part, Shesterkin did everything he could to keep his team in the game and give it a chance. So as long as he's playing at the level he is, and they could find ways to play in front, I think Igor does the rest.
Very fair. That's exactly how I feel. Igor needs to keep playing exactly the way he is for the Rangers to even sniff a chance. Kreider and Zibanejad need to get going too. Kreider was great too, but Zibanejad was incredible in the first 2 rounds. And since getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, now going against Barkov doesn't make it easy, but they need to find a way to contribute offense. Their 3 biggest guys, in terms of what's expected of them coming into the season with Zibanejad, Panarin, and Kreider. Obviously, Trocheck, Lafreniere, guys like that have carried a big load. Um, I it's never good when the opposing goalie has more points in the series than you. Bobrovsky has an assist in this series, and Zibanejad and Kreider have 0 points each. That's not how you want to play. So we'll see if the Rangers are able to do it. I do think it's funny in 1994 they lost Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals 3-0, and then they ended up winning the cup. That's exactly what's happened here. But
Crazy.
you know, history does have an interesting way of repeating itself sometimes, but hopefully this isn't the year that happens because the Florida Panthers need to get this done for my world. But I am excited to see how this series shakes out. I think there's some really entertaining puck ahead here. It's going to come down to goaltending, and if the Rangers are able to get it going against these Panthers who have mostly outplayed them throughout the series.
I agree.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Frank, who do you have as the Conn Smythe Trophy winner for each of these teams as we stand after 2 games in the Eastern Conference Final?
Well, for the Rangers, I'm going back to Vincent Trocheck. Just dominated nearly every game he has been in. He's the reason why the Rangers have come out and won so many games this postseason. He's got 5 power play goals, which is the most between either players on these teams. He's contributed to a ton of even strength points. He wasn't the team leader in the regular season, but if the Rangers win the cup, it's because Vinny Trocheck has gone to another level this postseason. Now, for the Panthers, I have a little bit of a different answer than who's been the best player in the series. It's Alexander Barkov, which will win the Conn Smythe, in my opinion. He has the edge over so many other players on this team because of what he does when he doesn't have the puck. The transition from offense to defense is some of the best we've seen all year. He won the Selke for being the best defensive forward for a reason. Barkov has the ability to score, and if he's not scoring, he's setting up players. And like the goal or the Reinhart goal yesterday, he got in behind the Rangers, forced Blake Wheeler to take a penalty against him. Reinhart won them the game with that goal, but Barkov did the hard work and single-handedly put the Panthers in the position to win that game from the penalty he drew. That's what makes him so great when he doesn't have the puck. It's his ability to contribute in other ways than what comes up on the stat sheet. And right now, I'd give Barkov the Conn Smythe.
I agree. I also would give Barkov the Conn Smythe for every reason that you just said. And so I don't just repeat everything you just said. I'll give an honorable mention to Carter Verhaeghe.
That was my other one.
I think he has a chance if he scores 4, 5, 6 more goals in these playoffs. He'll obviously be in the mix. But I think if he does do that, Barkov will probably have had a lot to do with that too, which is something that has to be taken into consideration. And I think Matthew Tkachuk, for a lot of the things that he brings, his name is in the hat. Obviously, Bobrovsky, his name is in the hat. And then an odd one, don't count out Gustav Forsling. He's been absolutely unbelievable.
Best defensive player right now. He's been.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I'll die on that hill.
he's what, that he's their best defenseman, at least
Yeah.
right now. I
Yeah.
think long term I would take Montour, but Forsling right now he's their best guy.
Yeah.
I don't, the fact that they have these 3 guys with Ekblad, and Ekblad even isn't even at the height of his powers right now. I don't know if he's 100% healthy, but he's there, and they get good play. So yeah, I'm at the same spot. What about the New York Rangers?
What about him?
Conn Smythe winner if they win the cup.
Oh, I said it already.
Who did you say?
I said I went back to Vinny Trocheck.
That's right. That's right.
He's just dominated every game. He's been a big reason as to why the Rangers have even been in this situation and winning so many games this postseason.
So, yeah, that makes sense. And I'll go with my guy I said was the best in the series so far. I'll pick Igor. I think there's a chance, when was the last time a goalie won the Conn Smythe Trophy? Was it Vasilevsky?
Yeah.
Vasilevsky definitely won it once, right? And then Hedman won the other one.
Yeah.
And then, I think who else did? Marc-Andre Fleury never did. Was it Jonathan Quick? Quick did, and Thomas the year before.
Yeah, it was Quick.
Yeah, that's honestly crazy. With Holtby and on the Caps, Binnington, what he did on the Blues, and Marc-Andre Fleury and Matt Murray didn't get it. I mean, they're on Sidney Crosby's team, so that's not all that shocking.
No, it was Quick and Vasilevsky, I'm pretty sure.
Corey Crawford's closest chance was 2013, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I actually remember campaigning for him to win it, but Patrick Kane, his performance in the...
It's hard for a goalie to win it. It really is.
Yeah, it is, because you kind of have to have MVP caliber numbers.
Yeah, it's very tough.
Igor might be the only guy left. The only goalie left that could win. I guess in theory Bob could.
Oh, I think there's one.
Well, I know
I'll give him a case.
You'll give him a case. It'll be a valid one, but I think that team has the biggest lock.
Did you know he's the odds-on favorite right now?
I don't. I agree. I believe you. I don't agree. And it's nothing against him. He's going to be our goalie for Team USA. He's going to be our guy next year.
I have a very valid reason. I can't wait to state my case.
I believe it. But you know who I think it is going to be. Maybe you don't. But yeah, that's the Eastern Conference Finals. Next time we speak on this show, we will know which of them advanced to the Stanley Cup Final. Make sure you're following us both online so you could read our reactions to that happening. And Frank, we are going to move out west in period number 2. Welcome to period 2, Frank. Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars. Dude, the Dallas freaking Stars. I still think the Oil can win. For those who don't know, Dallas leads the series 2-1 after their big win a couple nights ago. I think the Oilers, they could come back and win. Obviously, it's only 2-1. They've won a game. They're in the Western Conference Finals. Even if they did that, I wouldn't say they were deeper than Dallas.
No.
It would be because McDavid, Draisaitl, like all these wonderful offensive firepower that the Oilers have. And like, I didn't pick them to win the cup in my bracket for my health. Like, I actually believe they're good enough to. But sometimes teams win the cup going through better teams. And that's the case here. Dallas is absolutely unbelievable. I love watching them play. And, you know, we'll get to all of our segments without spoiling any of those. What do you think about this series so far with Dallas having a 2-1 series lead?
I think Dallas has dominated this series so far. The only win for the Edmonton Oilers had to be a tip from none other than Connor McDavid in double overtime. I feel like the Oilers, other than that, have been playing sloppy puck. They're being outplayed, and they're serious trouble when it comes to this series. And it's very tough because once again, Dallas gets that road win. They're now 7-1 on the road. It's hard to play at home against this team. And we're seeing that. We've seen that for the Knights, the Avalanche, and now the Oilers. It's not an easy task, and it's an uphill climb for the Oilers for sure.
Yep. I agree with everything you said. In game 3, there was no flow to the game. And I don't think that favors the Oilers. Either Edmonton dominated for like a 10-minute stretch or Dallas dominated for a 10-minute stretch. Dallas was dog shit in the first period of game number 3. And then Edmonton was dog shit lit on fire in the second period. And then in the third period, it was a little more even, but still, this team would dominate for 5. That team would have the puck for what felt like 3 straight minutes. You know, Dallas, they certainly earned the victory. Who's been the best player in this series for the Edmonton Oilers?
It's Connor McDavid. His silky smooth hands have allowed them to take game 1 of the series in double overtime. He came into this series with only 2 goals through the entire first 2 rounds, which I bet no one would have guessed that. And he already has 2 goals through 3 games in this series. He's doubled his scoring production through 3 games just in this series alone. So I could see an argument for even Zach Hyman, who's been great in this series, but McDavid is the reason that this series isn't 3-0 Dallas. So I went with McDavid.
Yeah, I think it's obvious. Like, you want to say something else. Draisaitl's been not great.
He hasn't even been here. He's not even existent.
Yeah, he had a goal in game 1, the first goal of the series.
So it's only point.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, Zach Hyman's been unreal, but it's Connor McDavid. Yeah, he had 2 goals through the first 2 series and 20 assists. So, like, I do always find that stat to be, like, a little funny. Like, oh, McDavid only has 2 goals, but he's got more assists than anyone else has points, except for Draisaitl, oddly enough. Hey, you know what? That's the playoffs. That's why the Oilers are here. Because when McDavid's only got 2 goals, Draisaitl's got 9. Okay, well, Draisaitl is a little quiet in this series, but McDavid has scored what? 3 now? 2? 3.
What?
Goals.
In the series?
Yeah, you said it was 2? He's got
doubled.
2.
He's got
The
4
double overtime one and then 1 yesterday.
Yeah.
But he's also got a lot of assists. So, like, when Draisaitl's really going, it's fine. And then you get McDavid really going. As long as they don't both go quiet at the same time, obviously you think the Oilers have a chance. It'd be nice if they both got going at the same time, though. That's what I think could propel them to win this series. But it's hard. It's hard because one of them's going to face Rupe Hintz every game. And that is not easy. You know, Bucci voted Rupe Hintz to be a Selke Trophy winner. I'm sure voted Barkov second, and that obviously it all is a point system. But like Rupe Hintz is in that conversation,
Mhm.
and one of them's always going to have him out there. Oh, that Miro Heiskanen guy, one of them is always going to be out there every single time McDavid or Draisaitl are on the ice. So it's a very tough matchup. This Dallas team is freaking sweet. But yeah, right now I'm going with Connor McDavid as the best player in the series so far. What about for the Dallas Stars?
I'm giving the nod to Jake Ottinger. The Dallas Stars production has been spread out fairly evenly throughout the series. That's why they're so deep. This team. I have a feeling I know who you're gonna say. Um, because like you look at the depth. Jamie Benn, he's found the fountain of youth again this postseason. Wyatt Johnston's been like lights out. Miro Heiskanen has arguably been the best defenseman in the entire postseason so far. But when you're tasked to shut down McDavid and Draisaitl, who have combined for 50 playoff points this postseason, and you are doing it with ease, I don't know what else to tell you. I think Miro Heiskanen is right up there with Jake Ottinger, but I'm giving Jake Ottinger some love because I knew you're not going to say him, so I figured we'd talk about a couple different people. Um, but what he's doing is so impressive.
I am picking Ottinger for this series.
Wow.
He's been incredible. I mean, the Oilers had 30 shots on goal. Dallas won. They had 25, or they had 29 shots on goal. Dallas won. He only gave up one in that game. Oilers have 38 shots in game one, and they lost in double overtime. This has been Ottinger's best series. There were some questionable moments earlier in the regular season and even in the postseason, but he's been incredible in the playoffs. The Oilers, based on shots and goal, have beaten the Stars by a wide margin in every game. Shots on goal don't mean everything. There are shots from the outside that are easy to track and handle. Like the Panthers out shooting the Rangers in this series is a little different than the Oilers out shooting the Stars. I think the chances for Florida have been of higher danger. Not taking anything away from the Oilers. They, in my opinion, they have played well. And Ottinger has been like a big reason for it. Like I hate the Oilers late in games. Like I don't know if it's a coaching problem or what, with like the guys just kind of like falling off a cliff in the third period. It was an issue against the Canucks too, in the second round. But right now, I absolutely have Ottinger as the best player in the series. What he's done, I mean, if they got average goaltending, the Oilers might be up 2-1 right now or 3-0. Draisaitl needs to get going. He was also robbed by Ottinger a couple times. There was that one
That's why
where
he's been so
he
great.
was fed right over, and Draisaitl looked like he had a wide open cage, and Ottinger recovered. Excuse me. It has been a wonderful playoff series for him so far. Yeah, I got him as the best player in the series.
I like to hear that.
At this point, oh dude, I'm all in on Ottinger.
This is
He's
the
my
best we've ever seen him play
100%.
ever.
He's my Team USA guy. I think. Maybe even over Hellebuck. Like it's one of them two.
I'd get an Ottinger jersey, I think,
Yeah.
over any other player. Yeah.
If I'm gonna get a Stars jersey, I would like to get one. Especially now since they're a team in the family. But I used to want a Ben jersey so bad
So did I, to be honest
back
with
in the
you.
day. I
Ben used
wanted
to
a
be my favorite player on the
yeah,
Stars.
yeah. I mean, he's
I'd still
changed
get it.
his
I
game.
like Ben.
Me too. He's changed his game a little bit, but also not really. I've heard from people I believe and trust that Ben had a hard conversation with himself, entering not last summer but the summer before, where like you stink now if you think you're just this great power forward that can just be fat all the time and booze every day and stuff like that. He started taking his like diet and exercise in the off season seriously, and that is what helped him quote unquote find the fountain of youth. It's been a life adjustment for him, and then I've heard Tyler Sagan made a different kind of life adjustment. um he It's more of a hockey thing, not an off ice thing. It's more of a hockey thing where he no longer puts pressure on himself to be like the team's leading scorer anymore because he's lost a step a little bit. He's getting into his 30s now. He knows he has to forecheck hard and back check hard in order to be like a truly effective player in the NHL, and he's embraced it. He used to get beat to every puck. Anything that wasn't an offensive play didn't work for him. Now that's not the case. Like I'd put him out there down a goal or up a goal late in the third. Like he's been that type of player lately,
Yeah,
and
he
he's
is.
worked on it. And we talk about Dallas's depth. That's been a big thing. But right now, if I'm just talking about this one series in particular, yeah, I'm going with Ottinger. Frank,
I
how does go ahead?
I agree with Travis too. The all black and neon green jerseys are sick. Those are my favorite Stars
Yeah,
jerseys.
is that the one you would get?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I like those a lot. I'm not taking anything away. I think if I ever get a Stars jersey, I'll get the victory green one though.
I like that too.
I love their home jerseys. When they play, every time they play the Devils, I always wish they were allowed to both be their solid colors because the players wouldn't have a hard time
No,
deciphering the other. There are matchups where they would. The Devils and Blackhawks can't play each other and both wear their homes. Like that wouldn't work. But like if the Devils played the Stars and the Devils bright red opposite their green, I think that would be
that would be cool.
so sick. And I love my favorite first, second, third overall picture after a draft was 2017 because it was the Flyers and the Stars and the Devils, just the bright orange, bright red, and bright green. That picture rules. Frank, how did the Edmonton Oilers tie this series?
Well, I think you know where I'm heading with this, but the goaltending needs to be better from Skinner. It does. The only way the Oilers are going to beat the Stars is by Skinner playing elite hockey. If the Oilers had Igor Shesterkin right now, this series is a whole different ballgame. And we haven't seen elite hockey out of Skinner in this series. In game 3, he had an 810 save percentage. We're dangerously close to dipping in the 700s. He let up 4 goals on 22 shots, and there were some bad goals there. I mean, one of Jason Robertson. I don't even know how the freaking puck snuck in when Stuart Skinner's pad was stuck against the post.
It was what I was gonna say. Like it was the hat trick goal for Robertson
Yeah,
that put him ahead 4-3. And right before that, he made an incredible save on Duchesne. And I
it's
was I
it's
was
the
ready to
fluky
come
goals.
I was ready to come on this podcast and be like, "Did you see that save Skinner made on Duchesne?" Assuming McDavid or Draisaitl popped an OT winner or something like that, I would have came in here pumping. But there's no doubt that was a shit goal that
It
he
was
gave up.
terrible.
But like you see why it bugs me so much because he does have that
But
talent.
he
That
is, but he's
save he made
inconsistent.
on
He's
Duchesne, he's
inconsistent.
inconsistent.
He's
I
great one
concede.
game. He'll be elite Vezina one game, and then he stinks. And that's why I think he's so overrated. And I know I give him a lot of crap on this show, but it's only because what I'm saying is what I truly believe. He's inconsistent, and the Stars have already taken down 2 of the best offenses in the league throughout the first 2 rounds, and they're about to take out another one if things don't change. Well, I mean, Leon Draisaitl's also gone quiet this year. We said he's has to find a way to start cooking again if the Oilers want to tie up this series. The top 2 playoff point leaders are McDavid and Draisaitl, and the Oilers are going to find it hard to win these games if they aren't producing. The entire series, 1 point for Draisaitl. Now, that wasn't happening the first 2 rounds, but we also have to give some credit to the Dallas Stars for doing that as well, and why he only has 1 point. I mean, we have seen it through the entire playoffs with the Stars containing McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, or with the Knights, Stone, Eichel, Marchessault. Like, we have to give credit to what they're doing, but Draisaitl's got to find a way to cook as well. They didn't get here from Draisaitl's lack of production. They got here because there's 50 points. I keep saying it, and it just boggles my mind that they have 50 points combined, and we're only going into game 4 in the third round. So, like, they have to start cooking again. And we're seeing it from McDavid. Skinner's got to play better, a lot better. Not a tad better, a lot better. And Draisaitl's got to find a way to get into Dallas's head and start scoring again. Easier said than done for sure, but
How many points do you think Ben and Sagan have in this combined since game 2 of the Colorado series?
hmm. I'll say points 22. That's probably a lot. I'll just say 22.
Yeah, you overshot it a little bit. It's 17 though, which is my initial guess was like 10. Like
That's a lot.
if they each had 5 points in the last 8 games
That's
in
a
the playoffs,
lot.
that'd be great for 38-year-old Ben and 33-year-old Sagan. Like but no, 17. And if Joe Pavelski could get cooking, dude, then like the team's unstoppable.
Hmm.
So I asked the question: how does Dallas go up 3-1 in the series?
I think the Stars know that Stuart Skinner hasn't been playing his best hockey. And I think right now they just have to continue peppering him, get shots to the net. He's letting in some cheapies. Edmonton hasn't been giving up a lot of shots on goal, but they have been some cheap goals that have gone in. I mean, when you look at the shots on goal that the Stars have had, they haven't had a ton each game, but they're scoring 3, 4 goals a game. So continue to get the puck to the net. Sometimes it's not about the quantity or the quality of the shot, but just get some quantity. Get the puck to the net. Good things will happen. That second period in Game 3, the Stars scored 3 goals in a span of 3 minutes and 33 seconds. That's the fastest 3 playoff goals in team history. Stars had 3 shots on goal in period 1 and 16 shots on goal in period 2. So look at the great production difference just by getting the puck to the net, just peppering Skinner and the way Skinner's been playing. I think that's what you have to do right now. You're in his head. They don't have to be pretty. Just start firing. Maybe you'll get a lucky bounce here and there. He's shown how inconsistent he can be. But you also, this is a biggie too. You have to stay disciplined. The Oilers have one of the best power plays in the league and had the number 1 power play going into the series. Through the first 3 games, VP, the Stars have only taken 5 penalties, and the Oilers haven't scored 1 power play goal the entire series. That is what they have feasted on in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. The Stars have been able to take away one of the Oilers' biggest advantages and use it to their own advantages. They've been super, super disciplined. We've seen teams take 5 in one game this postseason. They've taken 5 in 3 against one of the most lethal power plays in the postseason. They're doing everything right now.
They really are. I Chris Knobloch, the coach of the Oilers, he did go to the media after the game and say he wishes it was called more like it is in the regular season. That would give the Oilers, the advantage that they believe they've built because their power play is a big part. I understand what he's saying. There are some times where you see refs in this series,
Mhm.
especially, swallow their whistles and like that'd be a regular season penalty. And the Oilers would benefit from that. So I get Knobloch's frustration there, but I mean Dallas, to their credit, and even though that might be true, Dallas was two things can be true. Dallas was also the least penalized team in the regular season of any team. So and their penalty kill has been lower tier in the playoffs. But in general, they got some dogs who could win faceoffs and hit and do things like that on the
Yep.
penalty kill. Um, so although I do wish the playoffs did match the regular season a little more in terms of, it's still the same sport and we're trying to crown the winner that earned the spot in the playoffs from the regular season. That it might be true, but the fact that the Oilers are 0-5 already in the series is nuts. I would have never saw that coming.
Yeah.
But you know, I think in order for Dallas to go up 3-1, they need to keep the penalty kill strong. They need to continue avoid taking penalties, even if it means towing the line rather than going over the line. Um, I think I think they need Rupe Hintz to stay healthy through the rest of the series
Yeah.
too. I do believe Edmonton. I still think they can win. I'm not predicting they will. I actually kind of am leaning towards the other way now. But I I think Rupe Hintz leaving the lineup would really help sway it to Edmonton's direction or give them a better chance, if you will. The Stars could still win without him, maybe, but you saw the impact that he
Oh
made
yeah.
in Game 3. He's so good defensively. He makes it harder on McDavid and Draisaitl. He makes it easier on Jason Robertson,
Yeah.
who I don't know if there's another winger in the NHL who relies on his particular centerman more right now than Robertson. I mean, the
Mhm.
number discrepancy. I'm not saying Robertson's bad without Hintz because he's not, but he showed how much he missed his guy because
Oh
he's
yeah.
able, like, you have different line mates, stuff like that. Sometimes when you play on a line for a whole season and you and guys start to like develop a chemistry and you always know where each other is going to be and stuff like that, Rupe Hintz provides that for Robertson. And when he came back, it's really not that much of a shock to me that he was incredible.
Oh yeah. That was Rupe Hintz showed why that when he is in the lineup, he makes this offense better. He assisted on Robertson's first 2 goals. He's also a huge difference maker on the penalty kill, which is crucial when playing a team like the Edmonton Oilers. But not only that, but he also drives the top line. His forechecking was top notch. Dallas won every single puck battle and puck race and forecheck battle that Hintz was involved in when he was on the ice. Having Hintz back is a huge factor in the series, and it showed that having him back on a top line with Robertson also allowed for Robertson to get going again. So that's just what Rupe Hintz does. Huge factor in this series.
I completely agree. He's been unreal. He's been one of the league's top players for a fairly long time now. I
I like
mean,
Rupe Hintz a lot.
yeah, you can argue he's their best forward right now.
He's right up there. Well, yeah, he's definitely like top 2.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, when you're a team's number one center,
Yeah.
right? Like maybe there are guys with higher offensive ceilings, like Robertson or Wyatt Johnston or other guys like that. Like I think of him the same way I think of Nico Hischier.
Mm-hmm.
Nico Hischier and Rupe Hintz are probably right in that same range when you rank the best centers in the NHL. Not,
Robertson's had a down year. He's had
yeah, he has, but he can be a 100-point guy.
he proved it.
Yeah,
I've seen it already.
yeah, exactly. But like, do you kind of agree with me? Like, if we're ranking the top 20 centers again in August or September, Hischier and Hintz are probably right around the same ninth, 10th, 11th best center overall in the NHL.
Oh yeah,
Probably both top 5 hockey guys.
because he does more. He's like Barkov. He does more than just produce.
Exactly.
It's the little
Exactly.
things he does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Barkov's probably like, at this point, he's probably like 5th or 6th on that list
Mm-hmm.
because it's not all about points.
Right.
And yeah, maybe Rupe Hintz and, some of the younger guys in the league that play that style of game can kind of show why they're so like, yeah, it's awesome to be McDavid and have 130 points and McKinnon. Like these guys are on teams that go deep too. But like you look at a lot of these teams that are left, and most of them have that number one center who it's not all about offense. Bergeron and Taves don't even scratch the surface of the offensive ceiling of guys like Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, even Evgeny Malkin. Now the Penguins won 2 cups. They had the 2 guys. They had Letang, Fleury, Murray. It was a well-built team. They had it all. But like those super elite two-way centers always seem to find their way to the playoffs and
Yep.
deep in playoff runs. Taves won 2 cups or 3 cups. Kopitar won 2. Bergeron won 1. That's 6 cups with the 3 number 1 center, 3 best two-way centers in the league over that time.
You need good center depth.
Yeah, 100%. And that type of center specifically to match maybe, more offensive talent. Jeff Carter was a better all-around offensive player than Kopitar in their heyday.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm excited to see what Hintz is able to do. He's my biggest key for the Stars going forward. Frank, for the Edmonton Oilers, who would win the Conn Smythe Trophy right now?
I'd give it to Leon Draisaitl. He's taken over the playoffs, 25 points. With McDavid, they both have it, but he scored 9 goals. Who is second in the playoffs, only to Hyman, who plays on the same team. His production is the best we've seen in the postseason, by far. And it feels like if the Oilers won the cup, it'd be because of Draisaitl. Because if the Oilers win this series, it'd be because of Draisaitl started to cook a little bit more. So I think it goes hand in hand. He'd get to the cup, and just he's been. I know McDavid also has 25 points, but Draisaitl's been more of the I'm going to take it by the freaking whatever. You just take a grip on it and he's been more of the guy to solidify it and be the difference maker more than any other player on this team, despite having the same amount of points as McDavid. Draisaitl's been the guy to take it by the horns and just, go full force. And you get what I'm trying to say.
100%. I mean, it's between him and McDavid. I think, Bouchard will get votes, I'm sure. He's been great. But it'll be one of him or McDavid, and a lot will have to do with how the rest of the conference, if they were to win the cup, lot would have to do with who has a higher point total by now in the end. But I think it's a pretty neck and neck race, because McDavid has that extra oomph to his game that, like, even if it doesn't turn into a point, it seems to help Edmonton win. a lot, obviously. But Draisaitl's just been all over the score sheet in basically every game, other than a couple here in the conference finals. So I think I would lean Draisaitl right now. But out of all my picks, I'm leaving the door open for one guy in particular. Like like in the Rangers series, who did I picked Igor? There's not one player on the Rangers that I think is just a guarantee to slip in and win it
Right.
if it weren't Igor. It could be Trocheck. It could be Zibanejad. I know he's been slow in the conference, but his point total is unreal in the playoffs so far. Same thing with Panarin.
Mhm.
It could be a multitude of guys. When I said the Panthers, it would probably be for me Barkov, but like Verhage could slip through the back door and win it. Kachuk could. Bob could. For me, it's Draisaitl for the Oilers, but McDavid is the only player that could slip through the back
Yeah,
door and also win it.
it's close. If he
It's close.
continues the production we've seen in this series, then he might win the Conn Smythe.
Yeah,
But it's one of the two. It's one of the two.
couldn't agree more. All right, Frank. What about the Dallas Stars? They win the Stanley Cup. Who's the Conn Smythe Trophy winner?
I'm giving it. I'm giving it to Jake Ottinger. The best we've seen him play in his entire career, and it's coming in the postseason. And he's played the three of the best offenses in the NHL. He has a 10-6 record, but his stats, he's got a 923 save percentage, which is unbelievable, and a 209 goals against. If that 209 dips below 2 and we're in the ones, and he's got a, let's say, a 930 save percentage, buddy, that's Vezina numbers if this is the regular season. And those have come against the best scorers in the world. That's come against, you have a 209 and a 923 save percentage against McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar, Eichel, Marchessault, Stone. No one has been able to solve Ottinger this postseason. I just named 8 or 9 of the best players in the world, and you're putting up Vezina numbers. If it wasn't for Ottinger, the Stars wouldn't be in this position. That is why I would give him the Conn Smythe if they won the cup, because you literally shut down like 8 of the top 20 players in the NHL. Maybe 8 of the top 15 players in the. It's unbelievable what he is doing, and he's literally putting up Vezina numbers. That's why I'd have to give it to him.
Who do you think has more shutouts in the playoffs between Ottinger and Skinner?
It's probably Skinner, isn't it?
Just being funny. Yeah, it is, but Skinner has the one.
Yeah,
Only 4 guys have one.
it's
Bob,
tough in the playoffs.
Bob Skinner, Shelovs, and Hill each have one. How many? Hills was probably against.
It had to be against
It had to be
Dallas.
against Dallas, and Shelovs is probably against the Oilers,
Oh yeah,
and then Bob's is against the Rangers.
no, it wasn't against the Oilers. I think it was against the Preds.
Oh, was it against
I
the
think
Preds?
I think I remember a game where the
And I'm trying
Vancouver
to
shut out.
recall who Stews was against. Was
I'm
it
gonna
the Canes?
check. I'm almost positive they won like 3-0 or something.
That would make sense. For me, it would be Miro Heiskanen. I think
That's
Miro
where I think you're
Heiskanen.
going.
He's got 15 points in the playoffs. He's been as unreal as any defenseman in the league. I know Cale Makar has the same number of points and he's played in less games. Obviously, Cale Makar is a weirdo when it comes to points. But what I've seen Heiskanen do away from the puck too is just it's undescribable. The impact that he's making on games right now is unlike I've seen from maybe anyone in the playoffs. Like I know Ottinger's a good pick. He's a great pick. He could win it. But in my brain, my biggest lock for me, like if I were to have a vote, I'm not saying the biggest lock to win it, but my biggest lock for myself might be Heiskanen with the Stars. Like just the impact
He'd be
he's
my
made.
number 2.
Well, yeah, of course, and Ottinger would probably be my number 2. But the fact that he's just been making plays on offense, good in the neutral zone, hounding pucks in the defensive zone. Everything he does seems to turn to gold, and Dallas is in the conference finals with a 2-1 series lead. I believe he has the largest impact on that. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. What a top 5 that draft we went to has become.
I know.
The
Really
number 1
has.
overall pick is the captain of his
Except,
team, Selke Trophy
except
runner-up.
Nolan Patrick.
Yeah. Heischer, number 1 pick. Selke Trophy runner-up, captain of an NHL franchise, 80-point season, real one of the top 5 two-way players in the league. Number 2, Nolan Patrick. Sorry, dude.
Tough.
Tough. Very
Tough.
tough. Number 3, Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars, a Norris Trophy caliber defenseman, running in the playoffs. I think he could win the Conn Smythe. Number 4 is Cale Makar. He's already won the Conn Smythe, the Stanley Cup, the Hobie Baker, basically everything there is to win in the NHL. World Junior Gold, even though we don't talk about that 2018 World Junior Gold team anymore. That's the team McLeod and
Mm-hmm.
Carter Hart and all them were on. And then you got 5, Elias Pettersson. Slow second half of the year. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what the issue is with him right now, but incredible player, right? Like just absolutely unreal player. So what a top 5 that turned out to be. And the Stars are one of the teams that benefited the most. Cale Makar is the best player in the draft. He'd go number 1 in a redraft. It's not close. But I don't think the Devils or the Stars are like mad about it. Like, the Stars have Hintz. They're not worried about having another number 1 center. They have Heiskanen. They like what if they had Cale Makar instead? Like they'd probably have a 2-1 lead in the conference finals just the same. I don't know. I think every team got what they truly needed there.
It was a good draft.
And there's a little bit of karma. The Colorado Avalanche had the worst season in the modern era.
Mm-hmm.
In 2016-17, what did they end with? 48 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the Devils ended a season with 48 points and picked 4th, I think I'd not smile till training camp. Honestly. And so, there is a little bit of, the hockey gods smiled on Colorado after smiting on them in the regular. How do they have 48 points and they picked 4 because the Devils, Flyers, and Stars all jumped up in the draft? They weren't even, they were bad, but they weren't, atrocious. That was honestly wild. The hockey gods had every right to be on Colorado's side there. The only team that got truly jabbed is the Flyers because of Nolan Patrick's injuries.
That's tough.
It is tough. All right, Frank, we rolled through the conference finals. Really fun stuff. These teams are awesome. I love watching each and every game. It's been great hockey, I would say. We'll talk a little more hockey in the third period, but before we do that, we're going to get a little bit of Frankie's thoughts from the NBA. And, if you have anything in the NFL, MLB you want to touch on, we could do that as well. So, Frank, let's send it on over right now to period number 3. Okay, Frank, here's what Vinny knows about the shooty hoops right now. You can tell me if I'm stupid. I don't watch. I half pay attention. I'll probably watch the finals because there won't be hockey on that day. But, there is also a chance I watch the 14 and 42 White Sox as well. I know the Boston Celtics swept the Indiana Pacers and advanced to the NBA Finals for the second time in a row or second time in 3 years. I know they've been in the final lately, but they lost. They lose to the Heat, and that was the conference finals.
Yeah.
And the Heat went on to lose to maybe the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Celtics lost.
They were in it 2 years ago.
Did the Celtics lose to the Bucks? No, they're in the same conference. Who did the Celtics lose to in the final recently?
Well, what year? 2020.
It had to be 22. Was it
one?
Golden State? They lost to Golden State. The Warriors. Yeah. That extra ring that the Warriors got that wasn't part of the dynasty, but also kind of was.
Kind of came out of nowhere, but yeah.
Yeah. I still, Draymond Green and Curry won it together, so it's part of the dynasty, I guess.
Funny seeing Draymond Green on the panel. He does announcing.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen clips. Yeah. And then in the other series last night, Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals, the Minnesota Timberwolves won against the Dallas Mavericks, avoiding the sweep. What's going on here? Tell me more about the shooty hoops.
Well, before we say anything, we talked about the Celtics. I just want to say, rest in peace, Bill Walton. I love Bill Walton. He was one of my favorite announcers. Did a lot of college ball. Played for the Celtics. I was really devastated by the news when I heard about it because
100%.
The one day I was watching college basketball, And I'm sitting there and I'm like, who is this guy announcing? This guy is incredible.
Kind of probably does some crack while doing the game. Like it made it entertaining.
Like the stuff he says, like he's just goofy. He'll
Off
just
the
throw it
wall,
like
goofy.
I'm like, I got to figure out what this guy's name is. And it was Bill Walton. I mean, he ate a cupcake with the candle lit on it during a basketball game. And then he did a segment. I don't know if he was announcing with Jason Benetti when Benetti was doing the Sox game.
Oh, he did the whole series.
Yeah,
He did the whole series. It was awesome. It
that
was
was
awesome.
incredible too. So it's like, God rest your soul. Legendary announcer, Bill Walton. Oh man, it freaking basketball is not going to be the same without you, bud. But yeah, I figure I'd mention him when we're talking about the Celtics because he played for the Celtics. I
Yep,
think his
and the
nickname
use
was Big Red. I think. I think
probably.
Big Red. I
I
think he
could
had
look
like
that
red
up.
hair. I think
Yeah,
he
I
was
could
Big
look that
Red.
up. He was also a UCLA Bruin. Go Bruins.
Yeah, but to touch on what we've seen so far in the NBA playoffs, Vin, you nailed it on the head. The Celtics swept the Pacers. I saw this coming from a mile away. The Pacers needed to win one game on the road. And when I was talking, I told our buddy Dylan, I'm like, I can really see the Celtics sweeping the Pacers. He goes, well, the Pacers might get one at home. I said, if the Pacers aren't going to get swept, they need to get one on the road because I saw some crazy stat like the Celtics in the past 5 years or however many years, they're like average at home, but on the road, they're so much more elite. But they failed to do so and they got swept. This also, VP, might be the closest sweep that we've ever seen in NBA history. The Pacers led in the fourth quarter deep in 3 of the 4 games, and they failed to put the nail in any of the coffins. So the real heartbreak came after game 1 when they led by 3 points. They led by 3 with 8 seconds left in the game, and they had the ball. You figure the game's over. Turn the ball over. I'm pretty sure it was Brown went down, nailed the 3, went to overtime, lost the game. The writing was on the wall right after that. Then you knew they were going to get swept. They had no chance. There's an avalanche effect after that game. But yeah, they're young. They weren't ready to win. We knew they wouldn't beat the Celtics. The only reason why they won the first 2 rounds is because literally every team they played got injured badly, and nobody on the Celtics got injured in the season, and they got or in the series, and they got swept. But still, very good team, very young. They'll be back. They'll be a force to be reckoned with. They're not gonna be that team that misses how many consecutive years anymore, I don't think. But Mavericks, on the other hand, had a 3-0 lead against the Timberwolves. Luka Doncic, out of his mind. He's playing out of his mind. The Timberwolves found a way to win game 4 last night to send the series to a game 5. Teams that hold a 3-0 lead, 155-0 all time. I would pay to see this game go to 7. I would pay. But only 4 series have ever even forced a game 7 after being down 3-0. The Mavericks, they look unbeatable at the moment. I think the Mavericks, if the Mavericks play the Celtics in the NBA championship, that they're going to run right through them with ease. The Celtics haven't looked great. There were so many times they could have choked against the Celtics. I think the Mavericks are a true favorite, and I think they will win the NBA championship. So you could have the Dallas Mavericks winning and the Dallas Stars winning. What a crazy, like all in the same building.
Never happened.
That could happen days apart. It could happen the next day, back-to-back nights. Realistically, that would be insane. But yeah, the Mavericks right now, they're a whole different breed. They're a whole different breed. And the Timberwolves were my sleeper for most of the year, but the way the Mavericks are playing, whew, I really don't care who wins this series. I like both teams a lot. Luka Doncic is one of my favorite players in the NBA. He might be. He's right up there with Jokic. But Luka Doncic, he's kind of got the more goofy personality. Like he's just very, I don't know. I like the way he is on the court, just very goofball. But we shall see. I'm looking forward to it. The NBA Finals kickoff on June 6th. We'll be in Door County. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But like I said, I want a game 7 so bad, but I know it's not going to happen.
Yo, we could throw the NBA Finals on computer while in Door
Absolutely.
County. I think it has to happen. I'm getting interested in the final because either the T Wolves are going to pull off this all-time great NBA comeback and win the series, or the Mavericks, Kyrie Irving is going to face the Celtics
Yeah,
in the championship
that's
after
gonna
like
be
standing
brutal.
on their logo and like pulling out his weenie and putting it on the
There's
logo
gonna
and the
be some bad things said, I think.
yeah, and there's going to be hella boos by the
Oh my god,
Boston. Like what?
things are gonna get bad.
Frank, I
Boston
want
hates them.
Oh, I know. I know. Dude, I listen to every episode of Section 10, every minute of it. And Jared doesn't care about the C's, but Coley Mick does. And so does Steve Peralt. And I hear all about the C's. Because of Section 10, I would probably root for the C's, but I'm fully aware that there's a chance that the Mavericks get it done. Now, tell me about the Timberwolves and this Anthony Edwards. I've been told that I would love Anthony Edwards if I ever locked into a couple T Wolves
Oh yeah,
games. Um, if they come back and win, would you pick them?
yeah. I think the winner. It's almost like a Kings Hawks. Whoever wins would beat the Rangers in the Stanley Cup final. That's what this feels like. Whoever wins this is going to beat the Celtics. Celtics have not looked great, and like I said, they struggle at home, and they would
They
be the
got
home team.
no chance of like figuring it out though and turning it on.
They could.
I
They
know
are
they
the
beat
Celtics.
3 injured teams, is what people are saying.
Well, yeah, but they could turn it on, absolutely. But I just think we're seeing stuff out of Luka Doncic. It's almost like Jake Ottinger. Like this, like we know Luka Doncic is good, but this is the best I've seen him play like ever. Buddy hit a prayer three and was fouled yesterday when the Timberwolves were up 6 with like 13 seconds to go. You think that the game's over, and he just I don't know how he makes these shots. Like, I don't want to compare him to like Steph Curry or LeBron James, but he's looking like that tier level of a player right now. And I don't know if the Celtics can contain that type of player because they've struggled containing players that are not on his level through the first 3 rounds. But can the Celtics figure it out? Absolutely. They had the best record in basketball for a reason. But it's just when you're playing a team in a 7 game series, it's a little bit of a different kind of story. And I would go with whoever comes out of the West.
That's very fair. I'm excited to see how this goes. I will probably watch 0 minutes of the rest of the Western Conference Final, but that's only because of circumstance. It's not like I don't want to. Like I got hockey to cover, the White Sox, even the Cubs here and there. Like, but I'll try. I'm gonna try. Tonight's the WHL or the PWHL championship game and Game 5, like winner take all between Boston and Minnesota. Oddly enough, um, wow, imagine if the
That's crazy.
PWHL and the NBA have the same final. In terms of cities. And then the Memorial Cup, which we'll get to in a couple minutes here, that's on tonight too. Stoked to see what goes on there, but yeah, I'll be tuning into the final at least a little bit. I'm excited to see how this goes. I don't know what I would rather between getting to watch this Anthony Edwards go up against the Seas. Apparently, I would love the T Wolves. Um, and then this Dallas team with Kyrie going up against the Celtics. Ugh, I mean, I don't know. Minnesota is the longest droughted um, sports town, though, I believe.
Yeah, we discussed that. Yeah, it is.
So wouldn't that be something? If the T Wolves of all the teams, probably Minnesota's fourth favorite team was
I
the one. I would say the Wild are one, the Vikings are two, and the Twins are three, and then the T Wolves are four in terms of like what Minnesota cares about the most as a collective.
yeah.
But I still think they would go pretty crazy because of it's a championship for Minnesota.
Do you think the Timberwolves are the best on paper of the four?
Yeah, yeah, because I think until Parisi and Suter's cap hit are off of the Wild's books, um, they'll only be mid at best, third in the division at best, and they weren't even that good this year. Because
Right.
I think they go after Jake Gensel, but they'll still have those cap hits. Like,
Right.
can that keep them from getting a dry cycle maybe or something like that? I think, but I think in the long run they'll be okay. They might have the second brightest future behind the Timberwolves.
Will
Um,
you will you watch any clinching games for the NBA Finals?
yeah, I'll watch. I'll try to at least be a little tuned in. I say to in Door County when we have nothing to do at night, but have bonfires and put sports on the computer, that should be the sport we put on.
When is June 6th? That
It's
is
got to be
a week from
Tuesday.
tomorrow. It's a
Oh,
Thursday.
Thursday.
So that's
Yeah,
like the end of the trip in Door County. But yeah, we could put it on.
for sure. Because the Stanley Cup final will probably start the day before.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Yeah. So I'm stoked for all of it. We're gonna need this computer to run us some sports, but it's cool. I'm enjoying it. Um, the Vikings. I don't love I don't love JJ McCarthy in the NFL right now. I
Yeah,
think he could be something. If I were the Vikings, I would start Darnold in all 17 games and let JJ McCarthy develop.
that's fair.
Um,
I kind of agree.
and then the Twins, they've been good lately. I don't think it's a World Series winning core though.
No, but
They
they have
traded
been great
they have,
lately.
but they traded Luis Arise for a pitcher that kind of stinks now.
Yeah,
So
that
like,
that trade was kind of surprising.
yeah, and then the Marlins blew it by freaking trading him to San Diego.
Yeah,
And I have Arise on my fantasy team, and he's a big reason I have the best team.
yeah, he's great. He's great.
So I'm I'm kind of Minnesota sports are just mid right now. You know, the Wild and the T Wolves probably have the brightest future, and then the T Wolves and the Twins have the best present. So we'll see. It wouldn't shock me if the Vikings come in fourth place in um the Central or the North. I mean,
No, yeah, they
remember when I
probably
picked
will.
them to win and was right? That was sick. Um, but now I may pick them fourth. We'll see when we get to that point in the NFL season. Speaking of the NFL, Frank, is there anything going on right now that you're mildly interested in?
Uh, the only thing that really caught my attention, which I was like, oh, okay. They banned the hip drop tackle. If a player decides to use it during a game, it'll be a 15-yard penalty. That's the tackle that sidelined Mark Andrews for his surgery that required it. So he was like kind of happy about it that they banned it. Um, it's going to be interesting to what level is it like banned completely? Like I've seen some pretty bad hip drop tackles, but then I've also seen like some tackles from the hip. It's like, but that's just like a tackle. So like how much are we banning it? Because I'm pretty sure like the really bad one, I thought that was already banned. So is it like gone completely? We can't tackle guys from the hip? I don't know, but I'm excited to see how that plays out. I mean, it's good. You know, obviously player safety. You don't want anybody to get hurt, so it's good that it's banned. But we're gonna see how strict it's enforced this year, and I'm also excited to see the new kickoff rules in effect and see how much it changes the game. I think it's gonna increase the amount of scoring because teams will have more of a chance to run the ball back. There should be less touchbacks this year because now a touchback results in the ball being placed at the 30-yard line instead of the 25-yard line. If you've watched any UFL or XFL over the years, it's very similar to what they have there. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the new season. I'm excited for the Bears. Um, yeah, that's about it for the NFL.
I'm excited too. And I've been reading a lot of and turning it into articles of my own of Pro Football Focus. I believe Pro Football Focus, yeah, it's like premium data and analytics in the NFL. And I like analytics. Some old school folks don't. I don't love them to the point of letting it make every decision for me. But I like it as a tool, and I find it interesting, and I just like it. I do believe a manager or a coach, they need a feel for the game. It can't all be the computer. We
Yeah.
saw F over the Rays in the 2020 World Series. Remember when they took out freaking Snell and
Hmm.
he was dealing with like 70 pitches, but the computer told Kevin Cash that he should take him. Like
Yeah,
I hate
I was
I
irate.
hate that. I know you were enraged. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. But I do like analytics for certain things, like knowing if the Florida Panthers actually outplayed the New York Rangers and it was mostly Igor's fault that the game went to overtime. Like analytics like that, I love. Well,
Hmm.
PFF uses a lot of analytics for like quarterbacks and tackles and stuff like that. So I've been enjoying their stuff lately. And, I have one on Caleb Williams coming up. They ranked him as the 19th best quarterback in the NFL entering the season. And I thought that was incredibly generous. Like, he could be the fifth best, but to give a guy, like, they ranked him above Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, guys who have been like legit starters. Russell Wilson's probably going to the Hall of Fame. But even though Derek Carr hasn't been great lately, he was a starter in the NFL that was good for a while. And I think 19's generous. If he's real good, he'll be in the top 10 eventually. But I love that. They ranked the 32 best tackles in the NFL, and they didn't differentiate between
Mhm.
left or right. Most people, not most people, every team but the Dolphins values the left tackle more because the left tackle protects a right-handed quarterback's blind side. Obviously, Tua Tagovailoa is left-handed, so um, Miami's worried about the right tackle. But the Bears, both of their guys were in the top 32.
Yep.
Um, Braxton Jones and freaking Darnell Wright, who the Bears took with the um 11th overall pick last year. I actually Jones was ranked ahead of Wright. That stunned me. I really love Darnell Wright. I think he could be a top 3 right tackle in the NFL one day.
It's gonna be a
Um
fun season, I think.
and so yeah, stuff like that. I'm just excited. Go to the bearswire.com, part of USA Today's NFL Wire, and you should go read all the stuff. It's great. All my socials have articles posted moderately regularly. Um Frank, we'll go to the MLB first, real quick. What do you
Okay.
got there? Actually, no, I know what we'll start with. One of my least favorite bits of baseball news I ever remember getting in my entire life came on Sunday when it was announced that Ronald Acuna Jr. is out for the season. Now, the last time Ronald Acuna Jr. went out for the season, the Braves won the World Series. But I don't know if they have the pitching to be the World Series champion. I mean, Chris Sale's been unreal. Fried's been awesome. Got an 8 inning no hit or an 8 inning shut piece from him yesterday on my fantasy team. But the Braves pitching,
Yeah.
they really need to like go ham if they're going to win the World Series again without Acuna.
I think they might make a trade to fill his spot.
Maybe the White Sox had a couple guys that could have article done. Thanks for that.
They are going to, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Well, don't forget they kind of revamped their whole ass outfield in 2021. They acquired Jock Peterson from the Cubs.
Yep.
They got Jorge Soler from the Royals. That really helped them. Like their entire freaking. And then there's one other one that I'm forgetting. It was a Latino guy. I can't remember who it was that they traded for to help them in their outfield. Like all 3 outfield positions were redone. That's sad news, though. Acuna
That's
Jr.,
tough.
power hitter that steals 50 bags minimum. I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick in our our baseball draft this season. It's a tough thing for the MLB. It was just sad, dude.
And you tore both now, which
Yeah,
is like, how do you fare the rest of your career? Like going forward, like what is that going to do for the rest of your career? It's like when you get too many concussions, like it's going to take a toll on your body. Both ACLs torn. That's like, is he going to come back as the same player? He came back
I
better than
hope
ever
so.
after the first one,
Yeah,
but now
I
you
hope
tore
so.
both. Now you got to be careful with anything. You know what I mean? It's like,
I am happy it's not the same one a second time. I
that
would
is true.
prefer the other one.
It is better, but I feel now it's easier to tear both because you already have, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't
I don't know
know
how that
the
works.
I don't know the severity of coming back from an ACL. He won't start next year.
No,
Right? Like
no.
we're already deep in May. Like it's going to be June in a couple days. Like he probably comes back an All-Star game next year minimum.
Hmm.
They say a full year to recover the ACL, but I think when you're Ronald Acuna Jr. and you're fast as shit and like that is half of your moneymaker in this game. Yeah, it might take a little longer than a year. It could be, you know, 13, 14 months before he comes back. I hope not. I hope it's a speedy recovery for him. But um, as far as baseball, otherwise on the field, good on the Cubs yesterday. Would you have taken out Ben Brown?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he had 7 innings of no hit baseball. I think he could have won an inning or more. Absolutely.
He was for me. I actually loved the move. I know Cubs fans are going to hate me, and I do believe I'm viewing it more objectively because I'm not a Cubs fan, and I don't care if they throw a no hitter. It wouldn't excite me in any way, shape, or form. Um, but I would appreciate it if it happened. I love a no hitter. Like I get it, I get it. But he's a rookie that never went over 5 innings, and he was in the high 90s on pitches. Let's say he gets through the 8th. What's the low end of a spectrum
Well,
of a good no hit inning in the major leagues? Like 15 pitches. So let's say he throws 15 pitches and he comes out in the ninth with 109 pitches thrown. Like, it's hard to tell this guy, hey, you're going into the ninth inning and you have 109 pitches. You've never gone more than 5 in your career. You're a rookie. Guys are getting Tommy John left and right. Go out there, kid.
Well, I wasn't just not. It's not solely on the no hit reason either, though. It's because the bullpen stinks too, and you saw what happened. Take them out and they tie up the game. It's like
Don't you think that's a bad way to look at it, though?
I don't
Like,
know.
you gotta give the bullpen the ball. Like, you got this bullpen.
You do, but
Like,
I want to see like this was a great opportunity to give the rookie the experience he had nothing to lose, really.
mm,
I mean, or at least let him go one more inning. Let him go one more inning.
I get what you're saying. Tommy John is my least favorite baseball player right now, dude. I'm so scared of Tommy John. I'm more scared of Tommy John than like any all-time famous serial killer. Like, that is the scariest brother right there. He comes after everyone these days. The only guy that I can think of that like was a star pitcher for my favorite team that threw 100, because like Mark Burley doesn't count. He was never getting like he threw 90 max. It was all about precision and his brain. Dylan Cease hasn't had it yet since coming to the major leagues, but I think he had it as a kid. Like, it's just Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, Chris Sale, I mean Kershaw, DeGrom, every guy that throws 100 is. And this kid yesterday, he tickled the balls of 98. Like, he's a dude. He was amazing. The last pitch he threw was a strikeout. Like, I get it. You could have given him another inning. I think in the long run for his development, the Cubs probably did the right thing. Is it Craig Counsell's fault that Hayden Wesneski can't come in and get a 1 inning save? No, of course not. They lead the MLB with 11 blown saves. The bullpen stinks. But I think they can win around it. They got to get going offensively, though. And that's my biggest critique for the Cubs, too. You got to start getting going
Yeah,
offensively.
their offense hasn't been there.
But I believe in them. I really do. And, that 5-game losing streak scared me a little bit.
Big win against the division leader, though.
Huge win against the division leader with a chance to get another one tonight for the series victory.
Yeah,
That would all of a sudden take that 5-game losing streak and shove it up everyone's ass.
yeah, it'd be
Honestly,
huge.
that would be great for the Cubs if they were able to do that. Before yesterday's game ended, though, the only 2 teams in the MLB that lost their last 5 games or more were the White Sox and the Cubs. That's great. And in their combined last 20 games, the White Sox and Cubs, or 10 games, I think the White Sox and Cubs are a combined 4-16. So that's nice. Or maybe it's 5-15 now since yesterday's win for the Cubs.
Hey, and the Mariners lead the division by 3.5 games.
Hell yeah. Now, the Mariners need to keep their foot on the gas.
They've
Probably more than any team that's currently leading a division right now.
And they dominated the Astros, which they're not great this year, but that's something they haven't been able to do for the longest time is dominate the Astros.
Yeah.
I love
Which
it.
is absolutely true. And now Houston felt dead after April, and all of a sudden they're 24-31. They were 24 and
They're
29
the
before
Oilers of the
these
MLB.
two. Dude, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if the Astros are in the playoffs.
Just hope they don't win the division.
That's hard. 5.5 back, June. It's
Mariners got to
hard.
keep the foot on the gas.
They do. I thought of a team that needs to keep on the gas just as much as any other division leader right now, the Yankees. They take their foot off the gas even a little bit, then Baltimore Orioles will be freaking in first place faster than you could say baseball. I mean, they are freaking sweet too. The Red Sox with a big win. Let's go Section 10. Huge win over the O's yesterday. But I don't know. You have no idea how much Section 10 has improved my life.
Have you also seen that kid, Jeremiah Estrada?
Yeah.
13 straight strikeouts.
Yep.
Back in
Unreal.
November, he was just a waiver claim.
Yeah.
Now he's got 13 straight Ks over the last 3 games.
Gustav Forsling of the MLB.
I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
He set the record, I think, right?
Yep.
or is
Yep.
he
I
second? Or I think he set the record.
I think he did. He was up there for sure.
13 straight Ks.
Yeah. How many innings is that? It's like 3, 4. It's like
Four and a
4.1.
third.
4.1. Yeah. That's crazy.
Crazy. Travis has a question. He says, "Do you think the no hitter is going to disappear?" I kind of know what he means, and I kind of don't know what he means. I
He
think,
means because of what I talked about, where guys just don't go deep anymore because they throw too hard. They learn how to throw curveballs when they're 10. Nobody's arm can go 9 innings anymore. And
but I
even
don't.
if guys, a guy on the Orioles against the White Sox last week got taken out in the eighth with a no hitter. It was the day of the freaking picnic. The White Sox were being no hit into the eighth inning, and they took out their pitcher. And then what's his name hit a home run? Was it Sheets? Someone hit a home run after. I'm like, I get what Travis means. I do think it's not gonna disappear,
No, it'll never disappear.
but it will be more infrequent as we move along here. Yes, I do, because the Ben Brown, he is a rookie, and that played into it a little bit. Never went more than 5 innings. I think if Verlander was in that spot,
Yeah,
he finishes, but then you never know what happens there. I mean, the Astros aren't contending, but I'm trying to think of a good example of a guy who could go. Like Garrett Cole would get pulled. I'm just looking down the standings. The Yankees, um, maybe Chris Sale on the Braves. I'm just looking at some of the top pitchers that are going real well right now. They probably would let
I have
Cisco
a
in San
feeling they would have let
Diego.
Imanaga go.
Imanaga maybe, but then
Because he's
again,
gone to the seventh and eighth inning, but he's
I
gone deep.
know. But if you're the Cubs and you lose Imanaga, I would cancel. Yeah, I'd be out on the Cubs if they lost Imanaga. I like I would basically put their playoff chance that because I although I said 84 wins minimum, everyone argued with me. I don't think they're that good. I said max 95, min 84, which is like a borderline wild card team. I'm leaning more towards the wild card now. But yeah, if they lost Imanaga, yeah, see ya.
He pitches tonight too.
He sure does. I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes
Still
against
hasn't
the
lost.
Milwaukee Brewers. Still hasn't lost. He is 5-0 with a 0.484 earned run
That's
average.
crazy.
He's facing Wilson of the first place Milwaukee Brewers, who's not having a too terrible of a season himself. He's 3-1 with a 2.86 ERA, which is pretty good. Imanaga's ERA is unrealistic, and I'm here to tell all Cubs fans that right now. It will be over 2 before the end of the season is over, but he could still be 15-3, 17-2. Like he's a one. He won't even have to pitch much worse than he has so far, and it'll still probably be over 2. Like ERA is just
Is
when
he an all-star?
Verlander right now,
Yeah.
voting's probably going to pick up here in June.
Would you vote for? Is he an all-star in your eyes?
Yes, it's not. Who else on the Cubs deserves it more than him? That catch Bellinger made yesterday was. I don't think the Cubs have an all-star more worthy than Imanaga right now, and they have a couple guys who might be worthy. Like, has their lineup come out yet? It probably has. Yes, it
I do
has.
think he could win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young.
I do too. His ERA would have to remain ridiculously low. Like, because I do think they would vote, and this is just, it's stupid that this is the case. But yeah, no one in the Cubs starting lineup is just like, I need that guy in the All Star game. They don't, I'll say it, their offense has been dog shit this season, and it shouldn't be. I'm looking at these stats. Suzuki's been hurt, but he's back. Bellinger's been good. 768 OPS, but that's good. It's not great. Morel, it's all or nothing for Morel. He's got 9 home runs, but his batting average is 197, which I hate batting average anyway. It's a stupid stat. But he's only got a 677 OPS. Hap 684 OPS. I got one. Bush.
Yeah, he's been
It's
great.
hard to come up with 3 first basemen that have been better than Bush in the National League this year. They need more from Swanson. Um, we'll see. But I'm looking at this Brewers lineup. I didn't realize how great Yelich has been for most of this season so
Yeah,
far.
he's been a turnaround from last year.
Yeah, I have William Contreras, so I know how good he's been. I don't think there's a catcher I'd rather have in fantasy baseball right now, and I wouldn't have said that before the season, just purely based on April through right now.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think Imanaga's an all-star, yes, and he'll go. He'll be on the same team as Otani. Um, I'd venture to guess stuff will be made of that. Because Otani, he's probably the National League MVP right now,
Oh yeah.
even without pitching. So it's exciting though for the Cubs to have a guy like that come in as a rookie from Japan and be this good. He's been better so far than Yamamoto.
Oh
And
yeah.
Yamamoto's got 300 sheets in the bank as a result of his fresh MLB deal. What did Imanaga get? Like 84, which is a
Yeah.
shit ton of money. It'd be the largest contract in White Sox history by 9 million. But, you know, we're not talking about that stupid team. I honestly forgot about thinking about like all stars and stuff like that. Like who's gonna make it. This year's gonna be very Yankee heavy. The Judge and Soto will be probably the starting center fielder and starting right fielder for the American League. Jose Ramirez will probably be their third baseman. Freaking Bobby Witt Jr. is probably the
He's
shortstop.
been great.
Yeah, the American League's going to be pretty stacked this year now that we got Juan Soto on our side. We've never had Juan Soto in the All Star game on our side. I know you're an NL guy. You've had the Juan Soto luxury every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cubs will be in a playoff spot after this win tonight that they're about to get. They're about to go on a run. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
I hope so. Them and
Um,
the M's.
them and the M's. Well, my White Sox are 1-9 in their last 10. They've lost 7 in a row. They're 16 games back of the wild card with a record of 15-41, and are currently sitting in last place of the AL Central Division with that 15-41 record, a 268 winning percentage, which is worst in the MLB by far.
Sorry, VP.
Oh, I'm hurt. I'm heartbroken. Yeah, it sucks. But man, do we look good in White Sox gear though? We have the best gear. Like that logo, I'm looking at it. Ugh, the gear is awesome. There's nothing against Cubs stuff. I love the Cubs pinstripes. Cubs pinstripes are, and their blue jerseys are. I hate the White Sox and the Cubs road grays. They both stink.
You know who has a
Trash.
nice City Connect that I saw the other day?
Do you like the Cardinals' new one?
I do, but that's not who I'm talking
Oh,
about.
okay. You don't like the Mets, do you?
No.
Is it just came out?
Oh, I don't know, but the team was wearing them the other
Oh,
day.
okay. Who is it?
I saw them for the first time. Detroit.
The Detroit ones are rad. Yes.
I think it was
Detroit
Detroit.
Detroit
Right?
hits on most of their sports teams'
I think
gear.
it was Detroit.
It probably was. Detroit hits on most of their sports teams' gear. The Lions are well dressed. The Tigers are well dressed. And I think the Red Wings, that's probably my number one sweater right now. Just based on pure look. I like the
Hmm.
Red Wings sweater a lot. I think it's very close between them and the Blackhawks. Basically all the original 6 teams. And then I'm biased towards the Devils one, but now I'm going on a tangent. Yeah, dude, this White Sox season's bad, but I'm excited for we have a White Sox Cubs day set up for Door County.
Hmm.
I'm excited for my outfit that day. Like very.
Good.
Um, should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to watch it too. It's just gonna be fun. Like I don't mind if you guys win. Like I'll be cool with that. What do I got? You know, I want the White Sox players to do well so that they're trade worthy. The White Sox actually did very well in the Dylan Cease trade. This number one prospect that they got in the Cease trade, he was given to the Padres for Juan Soto. That's what the Padres thought of him, that he was like worth Juan Soto. So I am happy about that. The minor league system's not complete trash anymore. It's rising again, but it's going to be a long time before they're good. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, it is depressing because boy, do I love baseball, and my team is just.
It's tough.
I don't know if the Cubs have ever been this bad.
The
They were
White
the
Sox.
no, the Cubs.
What do you
because
mean?
they were, but
Oh,
like historically, they're the shit team. The White Sox aren't much better, but like the White Sox have only lost 100 games 4 times in their franchise's history, and one of them was last year. Even though the White Sox had nothing to write home about in the 100 years that the Cubs didn't win the World Series, they were slightly better, the White Sox. But basically, since 2010, it's not comparable. The Cubs have been
yeah.
otherworldly better. But I don't know if the Cubs, even though they were bad for a century, I don't think they've ever been this bad. 15-41 after 56 games. Yeah, I just don't think that that's ever been a
They're
thing.
probably gonna lose 100 this year.
Probably. I think there's a chance. There's a chance that they have the fewest wins in MLB history.
It's possible.
Like 130 losses wouldn't shock me.
That would be crazy.
I think if they win 100 games, or if they lose only 100 games, 101, 102, that would mean from now till, because Frank, they're 15-41.
know. I
If
know.
they only lose 60 more games, that would mean they play close to 500 baseball the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I would love for them to be 62-100. Oh my God. The thrill that would bring. That would mean they brought up someone made an impact down the stretch. Their pitching was decent. Oh, that's sad. That's sad that I'm saying if they only ended with 100 losses, they would be like fun the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Just absolute dog shit. Frank, the Memorial Cup is going on right now. Did you have anything left on baseball? Sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay, the Memorial Cup is coming up soon. And right now, it is being hosted. Hold on, I literally just had my notes on that and I lost it. Give me a sec here.
Take your time.
I'm looking for my Memorial Cup notes.
Memorial Cup.
Did you hear how I kind of messed that up?
Memorial Cup.
Memorial Cup. Memorial Cup. All right, Frank, you tell me what you got on the Memorial Cup, and I'll finish
I
looking for my notes. Because my notes on the Memorial Cup are on my phone. I got the other sheet over here.
I gotta be honest.
You ain't no shit.
I haven't done any. I don't have a lot of knowledge on the Memorial Cup this year. I was kind of gonna go off what you were gonna say.
I understand. Okay, I got it. I found my stuff.
I'll feed off of you.
Yeah, so that's obviously, for those who don't know, it's a 4-team round robin tournament that's played every year at a different. Junior hockey in Canada has 3 leagues that comprise one league. The CHL, the Canadian Hockey League, is made up of the WHL, the Western Hockey League, famously known for sending the Chicago Blackhawks Connor Bedard. In the center of the country is the CHL. It stands for the OHL. It stands for the Ontario Hockey League. I guess it's center, right? But then the QMJHL, the Quebec Major Junior League, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. That's in like Quebec, Montreal, all those surrounding parts. A lot of French speaking over there. That sent the New Jersey Devils Nico Hischier, who decided to play junior hockey instead of the Swiss Pro League, which kind of unconventional for a Swiss player to play Canadian junior. But it's like Macklin Celebrini playing for the Chicago Steel and then Boston University. Like, that's very unconventional for a Canadian. So, it happens. But every year, the host team is, I don't know how they choose the host team, to be honest with you. I never looked into how they choose the host team, but they get an automatic bid into the Memorial Cup. They could be the worst team out of the 3 leagues combined, and they still get an automatic bid to the Memorial Cup. Then the other 3 teams are comprised by the Ontario Hockey League champion, the Quebec Major Junior League champion, and the WHL champion. And this year, the Saginaw Spirit are the host team. They're the team that, gets the they kind of get the automatic bid. Sorry, I was looking at something.
No, that's
And then they are the only team based in the US that is involved in this series. So I know I said it's Canadian Junior. It is, but a lot of the teams in the WHL also play in the United States, like the Spokane Chiefs. They're in the WHL. Spokane, I believe, is in Washington. So you have the London Knights, who won the OHL, the Saginaw Spirit, who are hosting it, the Moose Jaw Warriors, what a name. They are playing from the WHL, and then the Drummondville Voltigeurs are in from the QMJHL. Right now, the London Knights are 2-0. The Saginaw Spirit are 2-0. The Moose Jaw Warriors are 1-2, and the Drummondville Volunteers are 0-3. So it's looking like the Saginaw Spirit and the London Knights will probably be the two teams that play each other for all the marbles by the time it's all said and done. But, you know, when you look at the roster of each team, you'll see a couple names that like Oliver Bonk, the first round pick by
I
the
like that name.
Philadelphia Flyers. He is on the team. Obviously, Isaiah George, the New York Islander prospect, Jackson Edward from the Boston Bruins organization. I'm trying to look and see if there are any names on here that you would recognize. Obviously, some of these guys are still looking to end up making it. But Oliver Bonk is awesome. I know it's a funny name, but he's a very good player that the Flyers
I
fans should
was
absolutely be excited
I
about.
was really into the Memorial Cup last year.
Yeah, well, it had freaking.
Right.
Well, it wasn't the Memorial Cup. Connor Bedard's team got eliminated earlier in the playoffs that lead to the Memorial Cup, but
Right.
you know, was it the Seattle Thunderbirds made it last year, and
Yep.
they had Korchinski, a couple other guys that were fun to watch. The Saginaw Spirit. I'm trying to see if there's anybody you would know. Owen Beck, the
Yeah.
Canadians
I've heard of
prospect. Um, that's really, the only drafted star that you might know. I don't know if you know Josh Bloom from the Vancouver Canucks organization. He's a good player
no.
too. Um, and then who didn't I? That was the Saginaw, the Moose Jaw Warriors. Obviously, they have. Wait, where'd it go? I clicked the Moose Jaw Warriors and it didn't bring me to the Moose Jaw Warriors. They're in the WHL. They have. Oh, Matthew Savoie, their captain, one of their
Oh,
captains,
okay.
and Brandon Yeager from the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. Savoie with the Buffalo Sabres, though, obviously.
Is that how
That's a
you
big one.
pronounce it?
Savoie?
Yeah, Savoy, Savoy,
I always said Savoie. Um,
or is it Savoy, Savoy? I don't know.
that's a good question, actually. I mean, he's playing in the WHL. If it were in the QMJHL, I would say, ho, Savoie.
Savoy. Well, where is he from though?
That's a good question. I'll go back and click his name in a minute. So, this is the interesting thing. Drummondville of the QMJHL, they're starting, or one of their goaltenders is Riley Mercer. He's the brother of
I
Dawson
was gonna
Mercer.
say, yeah.
And I saw that Dawson returned from the World Championships and made his way to the game and was there supporting his brother, which I think is really cool. Um, Noah Reinhardt. There's probably not. Oh, Ethan Gauthier is a right winger. He's a Tampa Bay Lightning prospect. And then they have Maverick Lamoureux, the defense prospect for the Arizona Coyotes.
Mhm.
Um, Pretty cool. Pretty cool. There's a couple good players here. A lot of these guys will be drafted and they'll become household names. It's going to be good hockey, though. Um,
Absolutely.
Specifically, something I don't really want to talk about on the show, but you can Google it for yourself. The bad blood between the London Knights and the Saginaw Spirit that happened a little bit earlier in the playoffs. Very, very funny story. They got some bad blood. So watch these games. They're on NHL Network. It's good hockey. It'll help you in draft knowledge. The announcers will tell you things about the players that it's always good information to have. They're going to be way smarter on it than I would be. I'm just a fan of hockey and I love the Memorial Cup. You're right. Last year it was a little more intense. There was a lot more notable things going on.
Yeah.
But this year, these are good teams. The London Knights being back in it is awesome. They're probably the most marquee name of any junior hockey team. I know the Erie Otters have sent a lot of good players to the NHL. They had that one sick line that one year with Connor McDavid, Alex DeBrincat, and Dylan Strome all on the same line, and they all turned out to be good players in the NHL. Obviously, with McDavid leading the way, but like I've followed the Spokane Chiefs when they had Ty Smith. Obviously, the Regina Pats when they had Connor Bedard. The Rimouski Oceanic when they had Lafreniere. Crosby also played for the Oceanic too. Heischer playing for the Halifax Mooseheads. Taylor Hall, the Windsor Spitfires. All these teams from this entire junior league, they're pumping out NHL players like nobody's business. So you're going to want to be watching this stuff. Frank, you got anything else in the Memorial Cup? Who you rooting for? London Knights?
I think the London Knights will probably win.
They retired Patrick Kane's number a handful of years ago now.
I like the London Knights.
Hell yeah. I always think it'd be funny if the host team won it. Like they didn't earn it, but like who cares?
That would be funny.
And I always wondered what would happen if the host country won their league.
I wonder if that's ever happened, if the host has ever won.
Like their league. Like if they were the host and the OHL champion, who would be that fourth team? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if the London Knights were hosting it this year
Would
and
it
they
just
won,
go to the second, the runner-up?
that's probably what happens. I will know by our next show. I'll look into that. I'm very
Okay.
curious. I'm very, very curious. But yeah, Frank, what else are you watching this weekend?
This week's slightly different because I'm still going to be watching, obviously, all the playoff sports. But I'm going to be trying to catch up on anything and everything before we leave for vacation. So this way I'm not way behind when we get back from vacation. But tomorrow night, kind of like the send-off, the last main thing I'd be watching before vacation is we're going to see a new horror movie called In a Violent Nature. This movie is unique because it's shot through the killer's perspective. So there's not many movies that have ever done that. So I'm very excited about that. You know, their critics have said they had an early screening of this movie. And apparently there was a scene so gross that it made somebody throw up in the theater. I can't imagine nothing being that gross that it ever makes me throw up. But I'm excited because I've never seen a movie like this. You're actually seeing it from the killer's eyes. Like it's the whole horror movie from his eyes. It's weird. But I'm excited.
That is interesting. That is interesting. I'm excited to hear how that goes. Frank, you know what it is. I was so concerned. Not concerned because, like, if we had a short podcast, we had a short podcast, but we were done with the first two periods after 58 minutes. And I was like, this is going to be an hour 20 show.
It happens.
Here we are, though, approaching the 2 hour mark. We will probably go over it, maybe barely, but we will probably go over it. Frank, it's time for America's favorite podcast segment of the week. The fuck are you laughing at?
You.
What about me?
Your face.
Breaking bets.
Where's my money, bitch?
Where's my money, bitch? Welcome to Breaking Bets. Excuse me.
Don't die.
Ooh, bad news. Bad news. Welcome to Breaking Bets, brought to you by Rabbit Gaming, your premier peer-to-peer marketplace. Check out what they are building at Rabbit Gaming.
Yep. You're gonna have to give me a sec.
.com.
Yep.
.com.
.com.
.com. Frank, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, dipped under 50%, but this I have a feeling this week is going to be electrifying. So I got 3 more picks for you guys. We're gonna start off with a little puck. You like puck?
I love puck. I probably
Well-
like puck a little too much.
Well,
I love
tonight we
puck.
got a game between a team I like to call the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. I'm leaning towards the Dallas Stars money line at plus 110 for 2 units. I'd be foolish not to take the Stars on the road where they're 7-1 this postseason and are playing with determination in their eye like no other. We're getting them at plus money, which is great for the way they've been playing. I don't like the way the Oilers have been playing in this series. They've been playing sloppy. And it's hard to take the Oilers as a favorite right now with the way they've been playing. I think they're going to take a stranglehold on this series, and I like the value. So we're going to go with the Dallas Stars money line at plus 110 for 2 units. Second off, got game 5 in the NBA tomorrow between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I like the Mavericks plus 4.5 at minus 105. Bet to win 5 units. The Timberwolves have been my sleeper this year, but the Mavericks They're just showing what a little experience can do in the NBA. Luka Doncic has been unbelievable. To go up 3-0 on the Wolves is no easy task. And now Game 5 is headed back to Minnesota. The Target Center is going to be as loud as can be. But I can't pass up on taking the Mavericks plus 4.5 points for a team that's absolutely dominated the entire playoffs. I would pay cold hard cash to see this series go 7 games. I'll say it over and over again. But I don't see the Mavericks letting it go that far. It could very well end. Oh, no, that's tonight. Wait, tonight? No, tomorrow. It could very well end tomorrow night. And even if the Wolves squeak out a home win, I don't think it'll be by 5 or more points. So I love what we're getting here with the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks plus 4.5 at minus 105. Bet to win 5 units. Which leads me to my final pick. MLB pick. We didn't do an MLB pick last week, but we got one this week. It's between the Kansas City Royals and the Minnesota Twins, but I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach on this game. Got Seth Lugo pitching. He's on the mound tonight. He's been phenomenal all year. 8-1 record, 174 ERA. Yeah, I mean, he could be a Cy Young candidate too, the way he's pitching. The one thing, though, with Seth Lugo is it's hit or miss in terms of strikeouts. The Twins are in the middle of the pack when it comes to strikeouts. They're kind of upper echelon team in terms of team striking out. But with some of the other middle of the pack teams like the Twins that Seth Lugo has faced, he's averaged anywhere from 3 to 5 strikeouts. Against some of the higher tier strikeout teams, he gets like 8 to 10. But the Twins fall in that range of middle of the pack, good team, pretty good team, where he kind of averages against those teams like 3 to 5 strikeouts. So I like Seth Lugo under 5.5 Ks for this game at plus 105. And even in games where he goes deep, 7 innings, he still doesn't get a ton of strikeouts against these type of teams. So I think the Twins will be good enough to put the ball in play and limit the amount of strikeouts that Seth Lugo gets. So I like the value at plus money here on the under 5.5 Ks at plus 105 for 1 unit. A little bit of a different approach, but I like it.
That's a strong breaking bets, Frank. Very, very strong. Brought to you by Rabbit Gaming. Make sure you go to rabbitgaming.com. Frank, do you hear about that billionaire guy? His name is Larry Connor. He plans to use his brand new submarine technology to go visit the Titanic 1 year after Titanic Gate last year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a wise decision, but who am I to judge? I don't like to tell people what to do.
Oh, I'm going to tell people what to do. What a freaking moron, dude. What an absolute dud.
So are you nervous that I'm on that submarine too?
I would say goodbye to you as if I'm never going to see you again. Yes.
I forgot to tell you that I was going on the expedition.
Frank, I love you enough to call you a moron either way. To the point where if you did survive and come back, if you didn't talk to me anymore, I wouldn't feel guilty because I, in my brain, felt I was doing the right thing for you.
That's fair.
100%. Moronic move. Why do white people love the Titanic so much? The movie's good, but what are we doing here? Like, let's let the ocean be. You don't need to be a part of the ocean. You're a human. Okay, a deep sea whale doesn't need to be a part of New York, right? Like, no, they're part of the ocean. Stop being obsessed with the Titanic. And this guy just wants to put his balls on the table and show that, well, I have a submersible that could go to the Titanic wreckage. Like, why though? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I don't know. Bring it back to the surface? I don't know.
Like, what even is down there?
Like, Katie, we need to find the heart of the ocean.
No, we don't. Frank,
the ocean's always fascinated me because literally like 97% of the ocean we haven't even seen yet because
I know.
We don't have technology to go down that far.
And this guy thinks he's going to go to the bottom of the Atlantic fucking ocean and find it.
But what creatures are lurking down there like that hasn't even been discovered? Probably hundreds of thousands of creatures that we
couldn't agree more.
It's so fascinating though. I think that's what's like why everybody's so obsessed with it.
Frank, as crazy as like I believe outer space is, like I feel the same way about the ocean. Like I would put nothing past it. I would put nothing past it.
Katie says if you had to be in a submersible with 5 athletes, who would you choose?
Active or all time?
Does that mean you're like they're gonna die
Well, she
though?
said dead or alive.
But does that mean they're gonna die? Because according to
No,
you,
she
they're not
didn't say.
coming
She
back.
didn't say you're going to see the Titanic. You're just in a submersible.
Well, then what's the point? On land?
You're hanging out with the guys.
On land.
No, in
Oh.
the submersible underwater.
Oh, okay.
So it's clearly bonding. Like you're in a submersible. You and 5 other people. It's going to be pretty intimate. Like you're going to get to know these people, which is pretty cool. Just trapped in a scary submersible for 7 days, no bathroom.
See, that's
So
a
they're
little
gonna
bit
they're gonna judge you a little bit when your timeout wings go through your intestines quickly, and
I
you have
know
to
G
shit
would
in a
be with
bag.
Tyler Sagan.
Tyler Sagan's a good one. He probably wouldn't be on your list though. What would you?
No.
What would be your list?
So am I just choosing like 5 of my favorite celebrities or athletes? Or?
Athletes that you would want. Not Frank. It can't be. It's a little different than like a bar setting. It's like you're in
Yeah.
a submersible with them for 7 days.
I think I would take I want people who are fun.
Yeah, of course.
I think I would choose Taves, even though he's got a boring personality, but I'd love to hang out with him for that long. So Taves would be on
Yeah,
the list.
you'd hate him by the end of the trip.
Yeah,
Go
but
off.
it's fine. But for the first few days, I'd enjoy it. So
For
I would
sure,
choose
for sure.
Taves. And then I'd want somebody like Luka Doncic. He'd be so much fun. We'd start playing games. We'd start playing games down there.
Sure.
But I need somebody goofy like that. So I'd choose
Got it.
probably Luka. Who else would be goofy? Maybe Pasternak. He'd be goofy.
He
He'd be
came
a
on
lot.
Spittin' Chicklets this last week, and it
He'd
was
be
fun.
funny. He'd be funny. Maybe him. But then we need somebody we need like the dad of the group. We need like a father figure. Like we can't just all be goofy down there. We need like the blandish kind of like.
You mean Taves?
Well, yeah, I guess we already got it right. Like
The guy called Captain Serious. You need another one of those?
we might. Well, we need somebody like
Like a father figure? Taves is more
Kinda.
of like your annoying older brother who like won't stop studying.
yeah. So, who else? Maybe like a Marc Andre Fleury. No.
If you got Marc Andre Fleury,
no,
you'd wake up with your
no,
turd on your face.
No, not Marc Andre Fleury. We need Hank. We need a good looking man down there just for the vibe. Hank would be up there. That would be 4.
Hank is handsome. There's no doubt handsome Hank is there.
And then we need somebody witty, just in case something goes wrong. We need a brainiac who's a very, very smart, a very, very smart brainiac.
There's one that popped into my head, but he would never be on your list in a million years. But he was a well-spoken, like almost like weirdo in a way, but like super smart.
I got it, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was
go
just
ahead.
like Ben Lovejoy was like that. Just smart.
He's not smart, but I don't know why I'm laughing. It just makes we need like a Kyle Hendricks. We need like the professor. We need somebody just to like I don't know.
Okay.
That's a wacky list because those aren't my 5 favorite athletes of all time. But
It's not
it
the point
makes
of the
sense,
question.
though, but it makes sense. We need like those. That's who I would be with. I think.
Is that your 5?
I think so.
Taves, Doncic, Hendricks,
Hank.
Handsome Hank, and what was the 5th one?
Oh, Pasternak.
Oh, Pasternak. That's right.
So it'd be a freaking banger of a list. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Woo!
I think
Even though Hendricks probably be like boring after a while, he seems like he's got the personality of a freaking wall.
yeah, I would take Zach Parise for the same reason you would pick Taves. He's not as bland as Taves,
Right.
but he's not Pasternak either, like not even close. I think I would bring I just feel like for story time, like Wayne Gretzky popped in my head for story time. But like I can hear Wayne Gretzky talk. He tells stories on TNT every night. So I think for that I would take Brodeur.
Oh.
The stories Martin Brodeur would tell,
He's
and
like
they'd
a
all be
father figure.
yeah, and he'd be like the dad. Like I would have to take Marty, right? Like if I'm bringing Zach Parise, I'm gonna bring Marty.
Okay.
Okay. I think I would take Bryce Harper.
Oh, he'd
with
be
me.
fun. He'd be
Bryce Harper would be like that upbeat, like
Yeah.
fun guy to have, and I'm representing baseball a little bit there, I think. Yeah, I would take Bryce Harper for sure. And Bryce Harper probably can find some appreciation in Zach Parise and Martin Brodeur too.
Okay.
Especially Marty. So I think the three of them would get along. We would need Oh. Right when my head went to football, there was like an obvious one.
Tom.
Yeah, I would have to take Tom. Oh my god. If I had Tommy, like Bryce Harper's for the vibes, but if I had Tommy and Brodeur, probably the best at their position ever. Oh, the stories, dude.
So who's your
Oh
fifth?
yeah, I
I
would
feel like
take
you need somebody
Tommy.
witty.
Yeah, I need someone witty for my fifth.
You just need someone like just in case something like they know what to do. Like
Yeah,
you
Matthew
don't want
Kachuk is a candidate. That would be freaking hilarious because he would just probably piss off Brodeur the whole time. Yeah. Let me think. Jack Hughes would be funny, I think, but I can't just take 3 out of 5 as Devils.
sure you can. There's no
I
rule.
I mean, he's in the candidate for like goofball. Um, there's a lot of intelligent conversation coming from the 5 that I chose, including Harper. So I think I need just one guy who's purely there to like crack me up. So I think my ultimate decision would have to be Brad Marchand. He would crack me the hell up.
We each have a Bruin on our list.
All right, and pick a female athlete too.
Oh, I would definitely probably go with
I think the female athlete for me is easy. It was the first thing that popped into my head.
I would go with Kelsey Plum of the Las Vegas Aces.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I knew you were going to say someone from the WNBA, but I think my head went in a different direction. I think mine would have to be Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Wow.
I mean, imagine the stories she could tell, dude. You're in a submarine for. I can listen to her talk. That's the greatest hockey player of all time on the female side.
Yeah.
It's not particularly close either, and she's still going. I would take Marie-Philippe Poulin as my female athlete. Absolutely. I like Katie's list. Sammy
It's a
Sosa,
wild list.
Brian Scalabrine, Luke Hughes, Mitch Trubisky, and Caitlin Clark.
That's like
That's for vibes, dude. That's for vibes. The only one on that list that's dry is Luke Hughes.
I wouldn't want to be stuck with Mitch for a week. I would be freaking.
That's one of Katie's like get out of jail free cards. She thinks he's just the most handsome man. We've been
serious?
Yeah, we've argued like over who's better looking between Mitch and Jay Cutler.
Oh,
and
God.
like I think Jay Cutler takes it in a
Me
landslide.
too, by a landslide.
Jay Cutler might be the hottest Bears quarterback of all time.
That's crazy.
And that includes
it's no contest.
Yeah, well, to each his own. She finds me attractive, so I can't insult her.
Before the show ends, though, there are 2 things I got to show you that are just like. Well, first thing I'll tell you. So it's trending on the internet that I don't like. You're gonna see it eventually when you go on social media.
Yeah, I haven't opened my phone other than Snapchat and the internet for my Memorial Cup notes.
A man with a suspended license joined a court Zoom call while driving in his car.
Is he from Florida?
And the judge
If he's from Florida, I'm convinced the Panthers are winning the cup.
No, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, I mean, same thing.
And the judge was like, "Mr. Harris, are you driving?" And he's like, "Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office. Just give me 1 second." And the judge revoked his bond and ordered him to turn himself into the local jail.
What did he think was going to happen?
People are like, this is one of the funniest videos I've seen on the internet.
That is truly hilarious.
And then you'll get a kick out of this, VP. I'm going to put it on the screen.
Oh, my God.
What?
That is so sad.
But it does look like Diglett.
It does. It really does. That's so mean. R.I.P. Uncle Ben.
Do you like Uncle Ben?
With great power comes great responsibility.
He's a good guy.
Where have I heard that from?
Yeah,
Before?
I know. That blew my mind.
Yeah, it blew mine too. Well, what a question dropped in the chat by Caitlin too. That drove some conversation.
That was good.
All right, did either of us name a dead person?
No.
One. All right, so we added a woman, and now we're adding someone who's dead. You have to pick an athlete that is dead.
Oh, an athlete?
Yeah, to come back, a dead athlete to come back and also be to join your female and the 5 you originally named.
Bill Walton. Goofball, we would have so much
Oh
fun.
my, yep. That's a good pick.
Bang!
Do I go for the vibes or do I go for the storytelling? Because my storytelling one.
I'd get both out of Bill.
You'd get both, 100%. Hundo percento. I would pick the saddest I've ever been. I'm always sad when people pass away. It's obviously very, very not cool. But the saddest I've ever been in an athlete passing away was Jose Fernandez.
Oh yeah.
And I would bring him back, pick his brain, and give him a second chance because that was tough. That was tough. The Marlins are still suffering from a baseball ops point of view.
Yeah,
But what a he was elite.
He was.
He was elite and gone. Gone. They forced him to trade Stanton, D. Gordon, Yelich. They broke up that incredible Marlins team because he died. And I would like to pick his brain on baseball and stuff like that. So that'd be my pick.
Do you know who G's would be?
Dead?
Mm-hmm.
You're
gonna be surprised. You're gonna be surprised. You're not gonna expect this out of her, actually, probably. Like in a million years. And I don't know the reasoning, so I mean we could talk
dead
about
athlete.
modification.
Give me a sport.
Football.
What's his name from the R words?
No.
Bart Starr?
No.
Dead football player.
Died a while
ago. Walter Payton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. She's not this big football fanatic. At all.
You could make a claim that Walter is the greatest Chicago sports athlete ever. He's on the Mount Rushmore for sure. I mean,
but for her to say it, it's okay.
Walter Payton. Oh no, duh, Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah,
Michael Jordan, Walter Payton. I would put Frank Thomas. He's the only Chicago athlete to ever have 500 plus home runs. I don't even know who that would round out the Ernie Banks, maybe. Oh, Patrick Kane. There are a couple options. Chicago's sports Mount Rushmore is hard. There are only 2 locks: Walter Payton and Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an interesting conversation. I enjoyed it. It was a good show. Episode number 161. Great show, Frank. You enjoy your vacation. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I will. Trust me.
You say it like I'm going along.
Well, you enjoy your portion. I'll enjoy mine.
Yeah, no show next week for the
I
viewers.
want to figure out a way to get something going for Wednesday, though. I don't know what. I haven't figured it out yet. I hate missing weeks, but
these make sense though. These always work out to where it's it's not like the playoffs are going to be over.
Yeah. I'm going to see if maybe I can record a half hour or something if the Stanley Cup final becomes if we know the matchup before Sunday, maybe we can, and the game doesn't start till Wednesday, we can record a half hour or something for Aldo to run on Wednesday for the people, but we'll see how that goes. I'm excited for the Stanley Cup final. This is what we watch all year for. Big stuff coming. I'm pumped. I cannot wait for the final. It's going to be great no matter what the matchup is, as long as no blue teams make it. Well, and as long as no blue and red teams make it. The Oilers are firmly blue. Frank, great show. Press like, subscribe, comment, whatever you got to do to make sure you get more of us. Frank, you got anything before we head out of here?
Not at all.
I leave everybody. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Hope everybody had a nice Memorial Day weekend. We move onward and upward to the Stanley Cup final. And as always, people, thank you for listening. Go Oilers.
Go Stars.